All right, saddle up. We got a Gigi Rüf episode coming at you. Can't believe he came and chatted with us. It was a real honor to have a legend like Gigi in the booth. He had such an elaborate career. I don't even know how to sum it up for you guys. I mean, we tallied 48 video parts. He won Rookie of the Year. He won Rider of the Year, Ultra Selection. He's won everything. He just got a podium at Natural Selection this year, and he's been in the game forever. He has been a part of the iconic Burton Unink program. He is a brand owner, so he understands the entrepreneurship that goes into running a snowboard brand with Slash. He's got covers on covers on covers. He's got last part in the Nike video. We can't forget about 9191, his opus, one of the best videos ever made in snowboarding. I could talk for another 20 minutes about his accolades, but we're going to talk for 4 hours after this about him. So let's just get into the show. But before we do, I have to say thank you so much to all the brands that came on to support this podcast. We got Woodward, Bubs, Herschel, Pub Beer, Joey's Footbeds, Arbor, Ski-Doo, Yeti, and Smith. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Thank you to our Patreon members. We really appreciate you guys. But let's just jump right in. The Gigi Rüf episode. Here we go.
You are listening to the
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips. Back attack, dude.
Bon Voyage!
Get that damn car off of the hill.
Slide down them big hills. You know what I mean? On the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, welcome to The Bomb Hole, which is presented by Run Through a Wall, the best company on planet Earth. Today, co-hosting, we got Bjorn Linus to my right. What's happening, brother?
Just smacked a salt, ready to get the show going, bro.
Woo. Of course, on production, we got Silk D. What's happening, Silk?
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited for this episode. And before we get into it, I want to talk to you about Arbor snowboards. Arbor's been making high-performance snowboards for nearly 30 years with a little thing called craftsmanship, and they do it with a conscience. These guys were on the sustainability tip long before it was cool, using real wood top sheets, eco-friendly materials, and actually giving a damn about the mountains and the planet. Backed by one of the sickest teams out with riders like Jared Elston, Marie-France Roy, Red Gerard, Brian Aguchi, Danny Cass, and many others, Arbor Snowboarding is resetting the standard, blending high performance and sustainability with precision, power, and purpose. So whether you're straight lining like a psycho or going full dummy in the park, Arbor's got the A-grade boards and bindings you need to ride your best. And let's get into the show.
That was beautiful, Silk.
Thank you.
Today, the man of the hour, we got Gigi Rüf in studio. What is happening, brother?
Oh, happy to be here. Yeah, Chris, thanks for putting this together. Heard it's just quite like therapy. So we're going to get through this. Bjorn, thanks for standing on my side here. We spent a lot of times on the hill, and let's date back some of those times. Silk, the ruler, thank you.
Oh, wow. I like that. The ruler.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
This is going to be a journey. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. It's going to be almost impossible to sum up, but we're going to do our best. But I think since it's fresh, you just came back from a podium at Natural Selection. How was that experience?
Oh, I got the trophy here. Yeah, that's been a wild one. I got the wild card, 4 days notice, jumped on the airplane, and flew to Revelstoke, about my favorite place to snowboard is that mountain. Been in a love affair. Been going there consecutively for the last 5 years. Having a real good friend up there, Mitch Cheek from Solus Production. So, you know, branching off these days sometimes to get the goods. That's right there.
So how was it in the contest? A lot of riding. You had to work your way up from the heats all the way to the brackets. How was that experience, like making it through to each round?
I had a tough fight going in 3 runs. It happened on the last run where, I had the first run where I wanted to go, and there's no practice and really no real good point of view. And so I planned on where I wanted to go. Obviously, hitting a pillow line was on the agenda. put myself on, and after that, you cannot have like 2 runs planned in your head. That just doesn't work. You plan the first run, and then just go from there. And it's been a bit of a fight, aggressive boarding, sure.
So would you stay up all night studying the terrain, and then you end up just showing up and winging it, pretty much, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was hard to get actually some sleep between quali, and finally it was back to back 2 days, solid riding, and we always had to be at the bottom, go right back up, and just being part of the live programming they run. And so on point, was a good time.
Incredible. Go ahead.
Oh, it looked like there's some serious factors involved, not just, the level of competitors, how insane all the people were there, but like the flat light, was that quite a factor on day 2?
Yeah, and it always is. The one part I don't think about is how much white room is actually playing into, because you think about, I'm gonna butter that, and then you're like leading up to it, doing your setup turn, and all of a sudden you're like trying to get out of that cloud, and so you're just guided by Braille most of the time, all the ways.
But you were so fluid, I would say, compared to a lot of the riders. One thing I noticed was your fluidity in between each jump, and like even though you were white rooming here and there, like you're blowing through it, and then you're like, oh cool, I'm spinning off this next thing, like, and lining up to the next feature. Like I could tell you being a veteran and like reading terrain and just kind of like flowing with the terrain. You're so amazing at that. I feel like that really helped kind of catapult you on that path, over the 2 days, from like actually making it to the finals and then to reach the podium. My gosh, dude, congratulations. That was so epic.
Oh yeah. You cannot see the tracks like in that flat light. I mean, I would not call it flat light as is normal. I would get to the Revelstoke Mountain, be putting in my strawberry lenses, and that's it. Like that's how it works. Strawberry fields forever.
And I'm just curious, so you're basically coming off the couch more or less, like you're riding in Austria a ton, but you hadn't been in a contest. And when was the last contest you competed in before natural selection?
Well, I tried to get to AK through natural selection in the past years, doing the duels. And after my last duel 2 years ago, and that's how it goes, you had to sort of call it quits on it. And yeah, I came actually home from a snowboard camp when I got the wild card from Liam, and that was in Japan, so I got to ride there. And I want to give a big shout out. Actually, I don't want that alarm signal go off, to my family. Yeah, we spent some snowboarding time in Japan during midterm, the kids' school, and just came back from that. So yeah, making dreams come true in each and every month, pretty much every day.
Yeah,
epic.
You know what I love to see too is you're out there, you're 43 years old, and then you're the only one to jump over the snowmobile at the bottom. Like you're having fun the whole way down, like you're a 12-year-old. And I feel like you have this fountain of youth that you have that youthful spark still. I'm just asking, because I'm getting older, what's the ticket? How do you keep the flow going?
No pop, no style. Yeah, I mean, I saw the snowmobile. I had to show off. Mm-hmm. I could jump it. The fountain of youth. I don't know. It's probably keep on doing it. I'm really living this, and that's why I was calling it a therapy before, because I'm so in it. I don't know why.
Do you find that now that you're a dad and your kids are kind of on the same trajectory, you're showing them tricks and they're learning stuff, does it make you, when you get out on the hill, like on your alone time, if you will, like going to Revelstoke to be in the natural selection, do you feel like you're more focused because you actually have your time back for yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's not that way. I ride with a lot of like people on my mind that allow me to be in that place. So it's that connection, and definitely my family sending me off, my wife, like, yeah, believing in me and wanting me to do it, and all that support is huge. And obviously, it's like the natural selection is something where I feel comfortable in, because I don't hit the park so much. I let that to the kids, and and then that's my time to shine. Yeah.
And shine you did, brother.
Well, we happen to have a guest question, and this is a special one. This is from Nicholas Mueller. Here we go.
Yodeliti. Hey Gigi, it's Nicholas. I wanted to thank you for the honey you gifted me a while back. It was absolutely amazing. And while I was watching the big show and saw you being down the mountains, I thought maybe you wanted to share some of the insights, what it's like being around bees.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. That's a very nice surprise. Hearing you, and you're welcome. I mean, the bees provide the honey. I'm a beekeeper. That's kind of like what my dad has thrown me at, with the thought of like, yeah, why don't you do beekeeping? It's such a activity you only do in summer. And could get more into my background, but yeah, beekeeping is one thing, and being around bees, they just out in the yard, and went into winter with 7 hives, and now I have 6. One of them did not make it through the cold this season, because coming over here, I just March checked in on them, and it's something I do.
What do you love about it?
What I love about it is probably that I have another hobby that keeps me, something that's needing my attention and gives a rhythm into the day. It's like with 4 hives, I would dedicate like 20 minutes pretty much out of like a day for them. And expect to be stung, but usually if the temperature is right, you're opening them up and check on if you see something that's too full. You add stacks. Like there's these basically those étages you just add on, and what you try to do as a beekeeper is just to make them feel comfy and enough space so they would work and have the space to develop and bring in honey, or do the craft. It's a craft for sure.
I think you might have just unlocked the answer to that fountain of youth question, because isn't there some science behind the fact that bees actually vibrate and beekeepers live longer because of this resonance that bees put off? I don't know. We should Google this, check it out.
No,
but I'm pretty sure there's some science
it's
behind
even
this.
the air, the smell, and a lot of the work the bees do is provide antiseptic product.
Mm-hmm.
Like beekeeper would turn into honey or propolis, and so there's a lot to get out of it. And even if it's just the smell or the attention, being getting stung, moving carefully, and it's the most beautiful is the light going through it as well. And
Nicholas was saying that you were like a bee going down the natural selection course when I was talking to him.
It's funny. I remembered that well-known saying, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yes.
That was being a bit of something that came to mind, and I tried to not like go too crazy on it, of like expectations are my worst enemy. Yeah, that's why I'm not very comfy in competitions. So being here also now and feeling, the whole community thing, and having sort of lived through a lot of experience, I just really took on that I'm part of this, even though I'm from Austria and feeling foreign to so many things, even the language. It's a full-on vocabulary book, turning pages the whole time with me. So bear with me if there's some words getting lost on this podcast. But embracing the community has given me some comfort to simplify my mind and to take on such incredible advice that are out there. And for a competition, I thought that was quite fitting. I got to float, keep the white room down, and do a butter for you, see there, and maybe do something cool.
You're kind of like a beekeeper just in the snowboard community in general, though. I would say like you've fostered your own hive with your own snowboard company. You've have a family. You've been intertwined in the community for like 30 years. So I don't know. There's something to this. Maybe your next graphic has some bees and honey or something.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find. Thanks, Bjorn, to a so-called segue to my own board company, which is also a family business that we run. And on the honey graphic, I might need to explore that honeycomb wood core.
Yeah,
don't make it aluminum because that bends and stays in place. Gotta find something, maybe some balsa. Somebody's getting crafty, but that's gonna be expensive snowboard. So thanks for that. That's a really nice analogy, the beekeeping.
Well, I think we should get back. We will talk Slash later in the show. I got a bunch of notes about it, but I think it would be cool to talk about how you basically grew up in an Austrian countryside in a really small town and what that looked like for you growing up.
Yeah, I grew up in Au, so that's the point I need to pinch you and you say it by yourself. And that used to be the joke. Where are you from? And you just hit him. Exactly. And now I live in Schwarzach, like healthy 40 minutes distance. My family have a house there. And growing up, my dad is a plumber. Mom took care of us. Housewife, worked as a maid in hotels at some point.
The population?
1,500 people at that time. Now it's probably risen a little bit. And my parents coming out of farming families. My dad had 10 siblings, so the farm was nearby, which gave me a lot of uncles. I have 2 brothers, 1 sister. I'm the youngest. And we would just also help out on the farm a lot and, get the, be the longer hand of the uncles, run around and pick things up, the bottom of the hill, run back up. And so got that commotion going on. And I love to just run down the hill and back up and bring that wrench or water. Yeah, it's quite impressive if growing up, seeing heavy machinery in steep hills, and the risk factor had me definitely tripping out sometimes, like driving, the tractor in the steep, and just the sheer work that goes into it. Like it was almost work that was unbearable sometimes, like being a mountain farmer and doing that work. So quite taught young that things are not easy.
You think that work ethic translated into your snowboarding?
I have the best work ethic, I hope, out there. I mean,
yeah, you do. You're always hiking up if you don't get it.
I would say I just did not learn any better.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you find snowboarding? What did that look like?
Through my brother and my sister. She continued then to get the driver's license earlier and drive also to competitions. And was typical upcoming parents could not afford a snowboard for everybody, and so definitely passed down their things, and got, even at that point, wrenching, working and having the working place around and screws and everything, we would bolt and use somehow a way to get onto soft bindings, because the first board was on hard boots. It's already doing tail grabs and, tricks seen from the magazine. And actually, the first boots, I was like 12. This is like 92. A year after I started, I would ride the soft bindings I could find with moon boots and ride to school. So we would get up to our farm, small farm, and then get up in the morning a bit early and ride down to school and jump over barbed wire fences and get there.
Can you paint a little picture for the listeners of the valley and this proximity to the ski resort and what that was like, where your farm was?
Really, really close. Like just a bus ride. 15 minutes bus ride, 5 minutes. Yeah. If I would crash, my mom would come pick me up. But yeah, I would. At that point, got a picture in school. Once I was already getting into snowboarding and become a fanatic. I was the only one with baggy pants and was a snowboarder. I guess I was always a bit like up for adventure, being different in a way. Yeah, nobody could touch this.
But how was having that mountain? I feel like, talking to Jake Price and some of these people, they were really hammering on that mountain that is on the backside of Arlberg that you grew up riding, and how you just got to go there every single day. And how did that mountain particularly shape your riding?
Thinking back, for sure it's the mountain, but it's also the people I met along the way. I like the mountain, sure. I mean, every mountain, pretty much every day snowboarding. But there was this crew that, just showed me, got me the first video. And I have a big coming out here. If you want to know what I'm doing on a snowboard, just watch Project 6, and it's on repeat all the time. That's my snowboarding blueprint.
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
That was your first video you got exposed to, Project 6?
Yeah, I got it handed down from the ski snowboard shop. There was like this cool gang I was just talking about on the whole mountain. The skateboards, they were always the loudest in the last bench of the church, and you would always hear grandma like just nagging about them. I thought that was those, like we were watching from the chair doing backflips, like, whoa, I just want to go ride with them. And yeah, eventually got to, and got from that shop, he had the Project 6 video, and that's what I saw. And later on, it wore out, the VHS, and dream come true. Pat Bridges gave me one out of the Snowboarder Mag warehouse, gave it to me, and I still have that one. Yeah.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Rad. So who were some of those first like snowboarders you were seeing? Like, did you see like, besides Project 6, but like locally, like in Europe, was it like Mickey Albin coming on the scene yet, or that was later?
The first ones, the local scene, definitely, who taught me and told me about getting sponsored and what it could mean. I'm talking about free stuff. Was Ollie Bryce, rest in peace. That was a heartbreaker. Jumped off a bridge. And next thing, crying for mom as he was still alive. And that's only hearing, but I was 16 and doing it. Yeah. And so sponsoring started from there. The videos, and funny enough, my sponsor, Hot Shop, at that time, had a distribution in the background, and they took on Volcom and Tucker Hall, and who was the other? Jason visited, and yeah, I also met through the distribution Black Flies, Jonathan, and got my first connection to Martha and Gary from San Francisco, who ran Yang Clothing, and they came by. They're like doctors living in on Hawaiian Island. So it all just was like making connections. The first pro riders were probably impressive ones, Wolfie Schröter, and then Gernot Reitmeier. He used to be my battle on high jumps. You know, there would be a quarter pipe where they have like a wooden stick there where they put a slalom pole in, and they raise it each time a little bit, and you have to jump over, and whoever gets to the end, which is a very bee thing like to do.
There you go.
And natural selection, it's kind of.
Yep.
And that was a cool time. My mom would still have to sign the waiver to let me
The
do
high
that.
ollie. We got to bring those back.
Yeah, high jump. It's
the
called.
high jump.
The high jump. Yeah, on the quarter pipe. Just always raise the bar.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, if you could pull still on the highest point where everybody was eliminated, a backside air over it, future was bright.
I remember seeing you on the Volcom stuff, though, baggy pants, the black flies on, and it really reminded me of kind of like Jeff Anderson of that time frame. You know, you were like the European next kind of like it kid. I mean, you just were on the come up so fast and with so much style, and like you alluded to, doing your own thing. I don't know, what was that like getting right on a brand like Volcom right off the bat as a first sponsor?
At that time, definitely the race out there was getting the next Terrier, searching for the next Terrier, and that's where Bjorn Lindgren comes in. We were then getting on Burton, riding the choppers at that time, being 14, 15 years old, and just wanted to show that talent, to the media, be talked about in a magazine, and be there for the sponsors, and it just started snowball effecting, and
What was it like? Because you went to a couple contests and people saw you, or was it more the local scene? They were just like, "Oh, this kid's on the come up." What do you think it was really the launch pad to get it going in that early kind of free stuff pro stage?
It was definitely my sister having that car, and we would go to competitions, meet everybody, and just be a good friendly person. And try and make my way to free stuff.
Buzzing around, getting the honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I remember seeing you in a video was, I believe, Destroyer. Was that the first major video? Or did you have part? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to jump right in to just a question I've wanted to ask you for freaking decades, because I remember when that first came out, that was one of my first videos, wearing it out in the VHS and everything. And there's that clip of you winging a double cork where you put it to your feet, but you don't land it. And I think that's the first time we ever saw somebody try one. What's the story behind that?
We were here in Salt Lake. It was my first year. So, Blado, air horn.
Oh, yeah.
Shouts.
Yeah, he put me on a around the world trip. We went to Japan Nippon Open, and I continued on to Snow Summit for the team challenge. And that's where I've seen you in action with Hazeltine. I think you were filming Luminous Llama that time. And it was a big deal. It was going to be my first time in a US snowboard park. And as a European kid, that meant a lot. Come from 90s. We did not really have many parks, or if any at all. And met up with Brad Kramer, that link Blado facilitated as a TM from Burton. And it took me on to film for Kingpin. And got a couple follow cams made there. Todd Hazeltine was filming Volcom. I was on Volcom, so I got some shots in that. And from there on, I stayed in the cat bed, not the sofa, because that one was taking at Blaise Rosenthal's Squaw Valley A-frame house. Yeah, and stayed there for 3 weeks. and it became another 2 weeks to go home. And then there was a final shoot in Breckenridge. I stayed another week. During that time, my sister even came over and visit. And yeah, I just stayed 1.5 months in the US to film that part.
But what about the double cork?
Yeah, what about the double
Grizzly
cork?
Gulch, like,
Okay,
you guys
I'm
had
sorry. Yeah, the double cork, that was more like I did not know what I was doing, and there was no time to like there was film in the camera. You could not look at it, but I was trusting like Andy Wright and Brad. Oh, it's sick. Go up there and try again. My legs would already give out on the way up, like cramping, because I was riding with Nate Bosing and Jordan Mendenhall. Then where Jordan does the really cool stiff leg back 5, and really good time. But that day there was so much going on, so I did the backside 180 over the Grizzly Gulch too, where you were holding position on your back 5, and like I'm just waiting here until somebody does some more gnarly trick.
That's that session.
What's the name of that jump? The gap.
I don't know. It's a Valley of the Cornices.
Yeah.
And
I called it hole in the lip because Brandon Bivey drops in front of me and smacks against the lip.
Yeah.
And like, he had a big gouching bottom lip open. And later on, I think Jason Murphy bottomed out in the transition and went up and flew into the deepest end of like bottom of the gulch.
Yeah. Yeah, we were hitting the cornice, whatever, jump up above and came down, and you guys were like, yo, you want to hit this? Somebody in the crew's like...
No, we rolled up after you.
Oh, you rolled... Okay.
Yeah, Mikey was there already having like some beverages on the Hip of Love. We were all standing on the takeoff. Cody Dresser at the bottom, and we were all just rolling in, and this like skiers built it with like using almost like tarp fence. Fill it in. It was a massive build, and we were invited to just send it over. It was almost like just a step across. It wasn't step up. They built it so high so you were like level and going over. Hell of a flat landing, but Bjorn's back 5, solid. I was typically waving my arms doing the backside 180, but glad I made it over.
But you stomped like always.
So that was
I stomped. That was the same day.
Same day as the double cork. So then you hiked up a little further and
tried that. Just keep on giving
chucking
her. Yeah, the whole day. Yeah, I think I even did chicane on there on that jump, and then the double cork came about. Yeah, just wanting to do a 1080 and hold on. Should have maybe done the truck driver that's now come out. Man, I thought about stuff, and I did not thought about stuff.
Well, you just set it to flipping and spinning until you're like, 1080, and you went double cork, and it came around. That was pretty inspiring.
I was already like 5 shots deep that day, so might as well give it a whirl.
Woo!
Damn,
it's a healthy stack. It's a healthy stack. All right, people, Bomb Hole is going to summer camp, and we want to bring you with us. It's going to be a good time. Summer camp isn't just for the kids. New this summer, Woodward Copper is offering summer camp for adults. There's 2 weeks, one over Memorial Day weekend and one in August. Ours is 8:10 to 8:15, so come on through. It's going to be a good time. Come progress on real snow. Whether you're new to park riding or intermediate/advanced, we have all the features and coaches to get you to the next level. Adult Week is for ages 18 plus and includes on-snow access, coaching, lunch, video review sessions, and more. We're talking barn sessions. It's going to be a good time chucking into the airbag, and you can learn more at coppercolorado.com. So use promo code BOMBHOLE, all lowercase. That's promo code BOMBHOLE, one word, all lowercase, for $150 off your Adult Week session. All right, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite products, and that's the Yeti Ranchero backpack. Everybody knows Yeti makes the best stuff, but this backpack rules. Let me tell you why. I come to this office, we record podcasts. What do I need? I need my computer, I need my notebook, I need some pens, I need my charger. Sometimes after work, I want to go skateboarding, so I need my skate shoes. So I got a nice little compartment where I can keep my skate shoes separate from my work stuff with my laptop. Perfect for organization. It's also got a nice nylon shell to tough skin, keeps everything dry if it's a rainy day. So there's no more digging through your backpack with this Yeti Ranchero. It's got a cutting-edge rip-zip opening that lets you quickly tear into the bag and see the stuff you need in seconds. And for even more convenience, it's got a vertical zipper that allows you to grab gear at the bottom of the backpack without having to unpack the top. That's major for me. So check out Yeti.com or a retail store near you and get yourself the Yeti Ranchero backpack. It's a heater. So around this time, you guys are going to know more about this than I am. I'm not as well versed on the Burton 7 situation. Were you at that point? Are you Burton?
Global.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy what happened there. Burton, stable for rider driven. And come around 17, I was 17, I got put right on to Global through that 7 program, which was a program they called Coalition. It later on became the restricted program. So the boards were only sold in the core market area to snowboard shops, because a lot of shops struggled mostly in cities where there's 2 snowboard shops, like let's say an Intersport or something, more mainstream. The core shops would more or less struggle having the same boards. And this line was dedicated to, a restricted program. And, got to be on there. Lead figure probably in that was Jason Brown. Then there was Chris Brown, my best friend Sani, who I went to that Nippon Open, my first around the world trip with. And 2 Japanese, one of them is Ue Umeru. He's still shredding out there, doing the Earthfield program in Japan. There was a few other Japanese riders. Am I forgetting one? I should not.
Jeffy was in there.
Jeffy.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
man.
Didn't Trevor ride on some of the 7 boards just for a minute? Trevor Andrews?
I think he jumped in on that photo shoot with the Beastie Boys on the cooping. I think that was a Jared Eberhard concept. And he jumped in as they made some action figures. I don't know if Jason Brown wasn't there at that photo shoot. So it kind of, that was the tail end with the Crow. I mean, that was the Crow actually. What other boards came after? Oh, I took after Crow, I got to actually make those themes in graphic. Had the hash marks and the snake. Mm-hmm. It always stayed a little bit in that realm. Tried to until Trevor took it over, and we started Unink. Unink started as being the cheap project at first, and then it became a meeting at JDK at Burton, which is the graphic design bureau. And we got one of the main graphic guys from them dedicated to our project, who is Lance Violet. And it went from there. And I think the biggest stepping stone for Unink was that Roman DeMarchi, he rejected a Burton Pro model to be within the Unink crew. And that's where the pig comes from, the piggy bank with the slot crossed off. We were like in that meeting deciding, okay, what's going to be the name for it? Last minute decision was that with, JB Solberg, DCP, Roman, and me right there, we needed another length to fill pretty much. And we wanted Jeffy to be in there. And so the next meeting in Hemsedal, we had Jeffy along with us. And that was the birth of Unink. And basically, back to the piggy bank, we did not put any royalties onto our bank account. We just requested that we have free range, creative freedom in our boards, in the advertisement, and we're going to get that first page that Burton had booked in all the magazines, and we could do whatever we want with lands. So we ran the full 9 years, somewhere in between.
6 or 9.
Yeah. Years. our own program. Yeah, went to our own photo shoots, and basically it's the best way to teach how to make my own boards now and being integrated. It was always a big goal to be integrated in the industry and stand on 2 feet. As my dad would put it, like, you think you could live from snowboarding alone? So I definitely kept it a profession side to it, and that is for me product development.
That's so cool to learn. I didn't know from the creative side that you guys had so much control, over the ads and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't really see that much anymore unless it's like, a core rider-driven company, right? That's really small.
Yeah.
So that had to be really unique.
Really unique because we had to trick ourselves into it, don't we?
Right.
Because Burton being so big and Lance and each and everybody knowing, we had to, branch away. We were going to be the last ones who dropped their graphics, so there's no copying. Like, we
Got it. Yeah.
got to be unique.
That's so cool. I want to rewind one thing I found doing my research, which I didn't know. I'm almost embarrassed about it, but the name 7 was in response to the Forum 8. Is that true?
It maybe was an effort from Burton. We sure did not feel like maybe, could be maybe.
Okay.
But it was 7 persons. Yeah,
7 people.
riders.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? You were on the Forum 8, Bjorn.
I mean, formerly was starting to erode at Burton, in a lot of ways with the market
That
capture.
was way later. We have now 97 to 2000.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there is a little discrepancy. I don't really know for sure. I mean, that was, Forum was saying, oh, it's because of the 7 and the 8. But I know with Jason Brown, he was such a creative and was, a real leader with 7. I don't really know if it was fully based off the Forum 8 thing, but that is kind of the rumor.
It could be because we're all nerds, right? And I mean, I felt it from Jason too. Like, he would, create his video part, be like wanting to do things so differently. And when he built that double half pipe and done that run, you could see like how much, weight he put on him to, land the mech twist.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's so cool. And his cage ending in Amp Mech Dog just speaks for him. He's teleporting himself. It has like something of Planet of the Apes in there and things like that, super creative. Really, really like that in snowboarding.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to this part where we were just talking about 5 clips one day. Destroyer, your first major part, you're in the skits. I believe Todd Richards throws you over a bridge with some concrete shoes on.
Mafioso.
And what happened after the Kingpin production came out for you?
After it came out?
Yeah, like did you just blast off into stardom, like snowboard stardom?
Well, we already talked about getting an award in Las Vegas and the limo that drove off.
Yeah. Off air, not on air though.
No, that's definitely going to stay
Rookie
off
of the
air.
year, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, we would buy Armani suits to get to the show afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, we were a good bond. Thanks to Ramon, by the way, he put down his credit card on that one.
Armani suit?
Mm-hmm.
So you're in Vegas at the Hard Rock Hotel. Are you 19 at this? Is this 2001?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Yeah?
Yeah.
You're in your Armani suit. Clearly you're not 21 of age, but you win an award, Rookie of the Year, which was, insane. I remember this award show. There's thousands of people there. And then the limo rode off. Is that where we're going to leave the story for the people?
No, buy the Armani suit. And I bought it baggy. The guy was not having it. It was like, you really buying an oversized? Yeah, just shorten those legs and be good.
Swag.
Yeah. Definitely. Still got that one. Yeah, that's a good memory on many more.
Yeah, that's when Gigi had arrived, I feel like, big time.
That's like first video part of what, 45
48.
50, 48 parts. Wow.
Jesus.
So saddle up. We're going to be here for 12 hours.
Yeah, astounding number for sure. Don't know. Like I would drop 3 video parts here, and those are legit parts. We're not talking like promo video cutouts. These are songs.
No recycled footage. Rare to see recycled footage.
Yeah,
Like you all.
yeah.
Original.
I kept it very distinct of like my traveling abroad, away from Europe, would be U.S. company filming, and then back home started up filming with my friends. And that's another story we should get into is Pirates movie
Hold on.
production.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
Because we have a guest question in regards to this from none other than Dean Blotto Gray, the legend. Here we go.
Hello, Bombhole listeners. What's good, Gigi? It's Blotto here, calling you from Switzerland. Hey, man, break down pirate movie production for us. How it started, when it started, where it went, all the amazing videos and books and art shows. Let the listeners know. It's a great time in snowboarding. Holla.
Holla back, Blotto. Yeah, the Pirates movie production started actually as, who would be surprised, a snowshoe camp. And my sister and Flo, they had formed a relationship at that point. And important uncle, he had a mountain refuge, a little cat that operated on that road up, and permission for a snowmobile. So I was really styling because I was permitted to actually roam from the little town, jump on my snowmobile, and drive up to the cabin. And snowshoe camp made backyard snowshoes, so it was called backyard camps. And we would just pretty much get all our friends together, and future friends and people that would come on the camp. Full deal 1 week. And being bored at times, I asked my uncle if he could push a park together. And I was sitting in the cat with him, and he would then be even by himself building us some jumps and mounts. And had a backyard park. And Flo, being the crafty guy he is and tinkering always, I mean, he made snowshoes that had a detachable crampon if you would get it on ice or something. And that was the thing. So we had Super 8mm camera, or he had, and filmed with that. And we made the first movie. There's some previous movies before the actual first product we made, Shoot Your Friends. And that was, just filmed around home, the province. And I think, 16 years? 16 years. It took until they made the first company movie, Union Stronger. The best video part in there with Kazoo, and then now this season they're filming the Burton movie. So cool. They kind of ditched me there. I wish I could be in there. Be all just family.
Yeah, that's so cool too, because in addition to all these American production companies, you're always still having pirate parts through your whole career, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, 100-page art book. The DVD came in, so a neat product. And yeah, just doesn't exist like that anymore. Maybe, if you get your hands or your headspace and time, it was a really good time. And a lot of what it actually is all about, and I think that's why the question also comes up from Blotto, is we interconnected our talents, and that's what I do with Slash as well. I mean, it's part of my drive to see each and everybody's talents. I mean, I'm restricted to just snowboarding, but I'm equally impressed always from anybody who is, moving in his creative space and makes things come to life. And we did that all together with Pirates.
What are some of your favorite Pirates movies? I mean, I've been popping some up on YouTube and different places where they live, but What memories do you have that you're like, this was one of the funnest? Or
one of them, I mean, the first where it went from Super 8 and Pirates at some point made the decision of like going high quality. Like they were the first ones with the red. And I think that was Distorted Reality.
Okay.
Killer Park of... okay, that was this first high production one was probably Distorted Reality. Killer Part of Marco Feichner in there. And other animations that... I'm like the space farmer. Going around and flying around, I guess. Okay, where are we? There's so much to. I want to actually mention the year. The year my son was born. Then that stuck with me, and I did the first street loop. Mm-hmm. Now come the claims.
Yeah.
I mean,
Incredible.
Jeremy Jones had a really good one that Blotto photographed after, and it's those things that stick out. Yeah.
God, I gotta say, it is fucked up, Gigi. I'm trying to condense your career. I'm going through everything. We got 48 video parts, Rookie of the Year, all the Nike years with Never Not, 9191 headliner, Ultra Selection winner. Natural Selection podium, Freeride World Tour podium, freaking 8 million covers. Like it's like the photos, the tricks, it's just like it's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, we can stop here. Man, yeah. Don't forget Perceptions video, by the way. I like that one too.
Perceptions, Pirates,
and Perception.
As the Crow Flies, that one was amazing by Pirates.
Those were two projects with Elias Elhard. The first one was Follow Your Nose, which goes by the saying of my dad. Yeah, and it's quite.
Can we elaborate on that? You said Follow Your Nose, which is your dad's saying. Mm-hmm. What does he mean by that?
Just. Well, take on whatever is ahead of you. Yeah.
Simple, wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I smell that honey from here, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good advice from my dad, too.
All right, we got a surprise guest popping their head in the doggy door here. None other than Shane Charlie Boy, a.k.a. Charlie Boy. What's happening, brother?
What's up, boys?
Yeah, Shane.
Hey, does this mic work?
Yeah, yes, it does.
All right.
Just grab the mic.
So, since we got Shane here, it could be a good time to talk. You guys spent many a time filming together.
Yeah, it's great to see Gigi.
Yeah,
You're back in Utah.
Likewise.
Yep. 40 years later.
It's true. 40 if it wasn't 100.
Your sunscreen looks great for the listeners that can't see Shane. His face is lathered in sunscreen. What I'm wondering, Shane, you got any memories of filming with Gigi?
Just getting off the hill, right?
That's right. Every time. There are so many. I mean, I think we might have met when we started filming with Kingpin. When you guys, actually you and Bjorn jumped the Valley of the Cornices Gap.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
I do remember the ducks in the pool at our hotel we stayed. Took it from the second floor. It was all jackass at that time. And Whitey, Rob, he actually always got like a bit of a stink eye from the films because he was always handheld. And that was a little bit the secret behind the curtain.
You remember that game Buffalo?
Oh yeah, was Brad coming up with that?
Yeah, you guys ever play Buffalo?
Oh, that was a tough one for Ika to get out of.
Yeah, because if you did this game, if anyone walked up to you at a bar or club and you were drinking with the right hand and they said Buffalo, you had to drink the whole drink.
So it's quite like the ice.
Yeah.
But the only way to get out was you had to drink, it was like 2 or 3 bottles of wine or 1 can of soft cat food.
Oh, God.
And I remember
guess what Ika opted for to get out. He wanted out so bad.
See, I always heard it was you, Gigi.
No, it was Ika eating the can of cat food.
That's pretty amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
So that game didn't last long, but...
I love how the best memories are eating cat food, not necessarily like the Cap 1080.
No. Not have that done that one.
All right. What about like a really standout moment is when you came off the plane and hit Rocker's Gap.
Whew.
That was
describe what Rocker Gap is for the people that don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, if people don't know, Jason Ray was his nickname was Rocker, and he hit that thing. I don't know, when was that, Bjorn? 99 maybe.
It's in the movie more of Absinthe Film.
But then, yeah, years later, we went back and then we built it. And you have to build it on a perfect storm where the sun doesn't come out, but it's enough that you can see what you're doing. But it's, I don't know, 60 feet high, 60 feet out.
It's a gap over the Guardsman's Pass Road up.
And it was the Cap 10 right there that he did. He did Cap 9 and Cap 10 Coulter.
Coulter Cap
9.
Cap 9, yeah.
And tried Cap 10.
Which was legendary because he hadn't been shredding like on that level for a while.
Yeah.
And then just comes out and stomps the Cap 9.
And I just came off the
But you
plane
got off
trying
the
to
plane,
earn a room, his dojo.
So you went straight off the plane from Europe, or where are you coming from?
Probably Zurich.
And then you went, from what I remember, switchback 3?
Right off the bat, switch.
Switchback 3 tail.
Yeah, because Coulter was hitting its switch
Insane.
as well. How am I going to do what? A stray there?
I think that'd be the last trick I would ever do on that, ever.
Same.
You know,
I mean,
the
when you
thing
see the
is,
gap,
I can't
not
do
many people wanna hit
backside
it at all.
threes. My whole mountain was set up all front set off the cat tracks, and that was how we learned how to spin. When you don't have a park, you chuck it off the cat track. Those were all set up front set, which means the other way around switch. I can only spin switch backside, and that's how I got comfortable with that. And also the thought that I beat Devin Walsh.
Just for
100%.
context, though, nobody's safety trick off one of the gnarliest gaps out here in the Wasatch is to go switch backside 3. That's why it's so legendary.
Well, hey, we don't meet younger, and the landing doesn't get better throughout the session.
True.
So is it one and done, switchback 3, or you try anything else?
I think I did also a switch backside 5. And maybe I always had bubbles in the landing, and I did not mind putting those shots, or I do not even object to any of what the filmer editor was doing. Like that's their craft, and that's back to the talent of which I truly estimate in everybody. That, you know, when I do the writing, they do the filming, the editing, like even the song choice. I like a chronological order to video parts, but really, bubbled landings. I have like my best crash reel from that season. I was out with Stan Evans trying to get photos one day, and I tried his rock ride. He sort of talked me into it. It's totally clean and flat, and I hooked it right off the bat, and was I bruised up my thigh, my front thigh. Cassandra Dunaway, Cassie, punk ass Cass, big shout out. Yeah, she worked the hematoma out of my leg in overnight. I was like so much in pain that I fell asleep. Or maybe I was just trying to breathe my first time in my life really regularly, panting through it. And 3 days later, we did the pillow session in Wyoming, which was my first time in Wyoming, and riding with Nico and Travis. But I did not want to pass that day.
The zip line?
Yeah, that's when we were doing the zip line. A lot of time and energy. Even though Justin Hostenek from Absinthe, he was really good in keeping it off, you know, the shoulders of the riders. But my work ethic just screams like help and run up and do everything. Unfortunately, I was never really as successful in the whole cable cam scenario. It was like just so much going on all around, like even the filmer putting himself in danger. So never really came out of that with like the nice pill lines, like what Nico's shots in that, and that whole experiment was just another creative ground for the filmer to, you know, put out his vision. So I definitely always think that the crew in snowboarding, you know, keeps you safe, but it also gives you enormous space. And, you know, it's not about the snowboarding, it's about also the time that you have opportunity for.
And the way it's captured, like what you're alluding to, that Absinthe crew was pushing the boundaries. Like this should be a new X Games sports. I mean, now we've got like drone wars out there. You know, these guys are on cable cams, strung up for like 100 yards down a pillow line,
going towards
like
the tree.
Supermaning. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane.
man. Right on.
Just to get the angle.
Along those lines, too, talking to Hosnick yesterday, he was mentioning that the iconic Vivid shoot where there's a Burton video of you guys, you guys all, I don't know, we all remember it, right?
Actually, you know what's funny? Gigi, I remember this so well because...
You were there with Jeffy and
with
Amsterdam?
Jeffy and DCP. And then
meeting
that morning,
Toman.
But you remember the morning
Rest in
that
peace.
we walked out of the cabins? And like where we were walking out of the cabins, you could just kind of see the back of the hip that Roman was hitting. Remember that shit?
Yeah, over the
And
the
it was like
chairlift
over
wire.
the lift from the back before we were just
The
walked
lift
out
was
of the
closer.
cabin and it was like, what the fuck was that? Literally. And
So
like
big.
everybody was hiking to this one point and there was one guy, double the height, still hungover from the night before. And I remember we were all there and we were like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, that was really also Mikhail Banks come up on those shoots. He'd be hanging around people just like when I was a kid, meeting people.
He was like 13 at that time.
Yeah, that was a big gathering that Rene Hansen and the Park Shaper put together. Yeah, his name was Lasse. And
I got a
yeah,
question,
the biggest enigma in there was definitely Toman. For that Burton shoot, he would be like, just like we were just not getting over the knuckle, like not even like trying, like Roman always had a bit more weight, but he could not even make it for his trick. And Toman would say, just build the mountain higher. So we would call that a drop-in ramp on top of the mountain would be called the Toman. Yeah.
Explain who Toman is. He's basically like a wizard.
He is a bit of an enigma that's still around, I think. And yeah, he's just a local legend from Hemsedal. Only rode with one strap, period. And yeah, just a lot of crazy story. Musician, kind of shaman looking guy. I heard once he was like lost in the Amazon.
Going back to that Hemsedal kicker session that we were talking about too, that iconic Burton commercial, which just is burned into my brain. There was a point where, we were talking about cable cams, and Hosnick at that shoot, wasn't he dangling from the helicopter, long lined down?
Yeah, there was a connection to Matt Johnson there, surf farmer. But that it was just crazy. Another part of daredevil move that Justin put on after the cable cam and whatnot.
Yeah, and that
he would only sit on the skateboard. It was a skateboard he was sitting on, and I mean from the helicopter it was probably carabiners, and whatnot.
Yep.
That was so groundbreaking, though. Those jumps were some of the short of like Super Park. Those are like the biggest park jumps being built in the world.
Yeah. And JP Solberg and Mats just did them right.
But I was going to ask you something. What about, everybody nowadays hears about Haynes and, all these zones that we've shredded for so long, you guys have destroyed. But you got a whole zone named after you, Gigi Land. I mean, tell us about that.
Well, the Gigi Land is a mediocre zone, I guess. All that's missing there is a tiki bar at the top. It should have been kind of like my Austrian taste for opera, that the tiki bar would be a flyby for everybody on a successful mission. It's like the lowland when you just take off, and it's the cheapest way to get a clip, maybe you're testing the waters with the guides. You sort of think it's necessary for you to go out and assess for the rest of the crew and the day. It's all protocol with mountain safety. And just go there and blasted this big old cornice, and that's where Nico named it Gigi Land, and it got actually written on the map, but kind of a hoax for whoever was thinking Alaska. It's more like Just
Yeah, but that
untracked.
shot that Brucey got of you, the front seven.
Front
yeah,
seven
I
stale.
crashed
Sickest
on the
thing.
front three with my backpack. It's so hard to ride with a backpack, actually. And even in AK, that's been a long time coming. I got used to that. Yeah.
Well, don't downplay it though. This zone has a bunch of jumps and rollers and such, and it's like he's saying, it's close to the heli-op, so you can go out there. I actually got to go out there like a couple years after it was Gigi Land, and I saw it on the map, and we went out there.
Yeah,
actually.
we went out there with snowmobiles even to the
Yep.
Old Faithful.
Right.
So these are the mountain ranges in the closest proximity, so it'd be staying productive, even though it's not really like the day to trigger some budget. And so,
But I feel like with AK, it seems like the guys that were going there before you, a lot of it was like big mountain riding and spines, and you were on
freestyle.
You were like on the forefront of AK freestyle. You know, not to say
Big
you're
mountain
the first
freestyle. That's
big
the
mountain
genre.
freestyle. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what Absinthe showed me was the Northwest Passage, and I mean it tickled it and brainstorm when Scotty Whitlake, who was a long time compadre, filming Kingpin.
Yep.
Because he's out of Tahoe. I stayed in Tahoe, filmed with Brad. We'd go to Sonora, in with Jeffy, and Brad would point out the DCP cliff before it was the DCP cliff. And I went up to Canada with M3, Scotty Whitlake, and Chad Otterstrom, and we would go up to Callahan, and I find out, about snowmobiling, what whoops are. Whoops are the worst. I mean, it's really, no offense. I know how much you like snowmobiling, but it's my last resort.
You figured that out early. He had the heli budge.
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of sled clips.
So there came AK, and Mickey Albin and definitely also Nicholas propagated coming from Europe is the mini shred. And happened up there in Brighton, all of a sudden Nicholas pulls a Mickey 1 foot, which actually goes back to you, to Hood, claiming you were the first one to pull that on the quarter pipe, the Mickey 1 foot.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tech diff.
Definitely. And then Cambodi.
Well,
That's my song to Neverland.
Hey, what about
Kennedys?
What about the story of when you hit that tree and broke the whole tree out up in the Uintas?
Hit it with my torso. It just shook for a moment and then broke.
It was not a small tree.
Yeah, and I was reading that book, Alchemist, that time, so I was all about, like, I found a pyramid right there. It was a perfect tabletop, but the only thing was surrounded by aspen. It was only like a tight way through, but you could build this really nice bar, gold bar of hip. And there were like these other birch trees or whatever they were in the way. One of them, I just T-boned.
Take it out.
Justin Benny was there, and J2, Mikey LeBlanc. Man, that was heavy. Like that year, crash reel of Moore is second to none.
I want to go back. We talked about Destroyer, but then you got Back in Black, and you also have Happy Hour. Happy Hour, you jib the Oldsmobile at the beginning. I think that's Guardsman's Pass, right? Is that a
Sonora?
Oh, that's Sonora. Yeah.
So back to Bridgeport, right there, where everybody greets you with the reach around to the other ear. I think that's what Kevin Jones actually came up with. That's the greeting in Bridgeport, but it's kind of offensive to the locals. But yeah, a lot of stuff went on in Bridgeport because that's the next town you get the motel to stay in when you're like out at Sonora Pass, which goes back to, it took me a little bit to find out that was where The Garden was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Terry had the notice to appear, air over the waterfall, and some Freddie Kalbermatten riding in that was, worldly, out of this world for sure. What about what are we talking about?
Happy Hour, jibbing the Oldsmobile.
Okay, so one day, coming from Bridgeport, sleeping in the motel, we come to Sonora, and there's this car in the middle, like, tried to drive as far as he could on the snow, road that did not get plowed because Sonora Pass is road closed in winter. And we're like, oh, leave this car here. And yeah, we just had snowmobiles going by it. And like Scotty Whitlake looked inside and was like, oh, the keys are there. Not fun. And so we started, I talked Scotty Whitlake into like pulling me in and jumping over the car, but then ended up chivving it like it was Project 6 times.
Yes.
I always wanted to chiv a car. And we later on still went into the car and found the driver's license and everything. And the next day in Bridgeport, the news were there was like this lady that they found in the river later, killed herself, and that was that story. I guess that's a bit of a dark tea here, huh?
I didn't know that. No, that's
no, I don't. Oh man, I shouldn't get into these stories, but it's just.
Did you guys talk about the Antarctica?
One thing I got before we get into that, I do have a
chipping the Oldsmobile. Yeah,
I have a photo. We have a photo.
Future proof.
No, that
did another car.
Oh yeah. we have a signed. Sorry to interrupt you. We have a signed print of Gigi jibbing the car because it's one of my most favorite photos from Andy Wright. So those will be available at bombhole.com. And also, if you're looking for some quality prints, like top-notch imagery, go to andywrightphoto.com. And if you use promo code Gigi, Gigi, if you're wondering how it's spelled, you get 20% off your order at andywrightphoto.com. He's got so many good photos on there, and he took the photos of you jibbing the Oldsmobile that we have on our site as well.
From inside the car. Is it that one?
No, it's not. It's like the fisheye from above.
Oh, yeah. So he stood on the car. He did some damage to it, too. So we were all, it wasn't just me.
It's past 7 years, though, so past the statute of
I
limitations.
mean, what were you guys thinking? There's like a car with keys, driver's license, still in the car. You're like, everything's cool out here. We just jib this thing.
Yeah, maybe the military base there gave me some I was like, either they're gonna come jumping out of the bush again and be like, hey, that's my car, that's what we're training on or whatever. I don't know. I was running the risk of like being caught by military police than out there in the snow,
right,
by some pigs.
Hey, what's your question? Sorry, I interrupted you earlier.
I was just gonna say, do you think when you look back, did your young self jibbing that car think you'd be in Antarctic hitting a iceberg?
Yep. All-terrain vehicle. Perceptions. That's where that shot is in.
How'd that come about? That was insane.
That was in Greenland, and I took the family there too. They were with me. But I did not tell them at breakfast that I was going to ride the iceberg.
Now, is this connection through Max, through...
HeliPro.
These Russian, the oligarchs that fly with those guys and...
Exactly, yeah. I mean he has adventure outfit. They come from Kamchatka, the most eastern peninsula. And Travis filmed a thing there, some drama in a movie, and we got invited from Pirate Movie Productions to film the movie Driven. So I spent some time there, like 1 month. For Driven, each section we filmed like minimum 1 month, but I think we were almost there for 2 in Kamchatka. It was I went home once in between, but a lot of effort went into Driven to get to these places that are most amazing. And Max with HeliPro, he showed us a few of those. He brought us down to film during 9191 in Chile. Mm-hmm. And so it was this adventure outfit just all over the world. And the whole Greenland trip came about. One of his clients canceled the trip just a week prior and gave him like carte blanche to film some video, and he chose Pirate Movie Production and me to come. And so I asked him, since you're like adventure outfit, like, can we have a room for the family too? Like, I don't know in my life if I'm gonna get to go ever to Greenland again. Might as well bring the family. Week-long trip. We get there flying through Iceland. We get there, and it was small airport, like no paved strip, so it was kind of like out there. Anyway, and I still claim on that Greenland trip that my boy, 3 years old, was the youngest heliboarder ever. So far, maybe that has changed, but he was in there with his board in the basket at 3 years old.
Wait, he was in the basket?
No, with his board in the basket.
Oh, yeah.
He fell
That makes
asleep
more
right
sense.
up.
So for context, you guys are flying around in a helicopter over Greenland, and then you just see this giant iceberg, because this became a cover of a magazine with him doing a hand plant and like
And a
he did a method on it.
Which was my Rider of the Year transfer year.
Woo. There it is.
Woo.
Legendary.
Yeah, it's like you have drawn the picture. We've been flying around. I've been seeing these icebergs, and over the course of the first days out there exploring and seeing massive glaciers, and everything became then also a bit of my influence to the ATV Graphicon / snowboards and the whole catalog. The opening intro that I wrote a little poetry and poems was this picture of like just icebergs with holes in it, like crazy snow features. And so my mind ran wild seeing icebergs floating out there, and I learned a lot about it. And the crucial part to obey was to get an anchored iceberg, because when they're out in the water floating, they turn whenever the weight, on one side gets off. So ultimately, they were always looking for polar bears. And I was like, what? Are we really doing that? Like, I was looking at nature and like just icebergs. And we found one near a harbor, near the town, that was there to die. Like, that's where the icebergs die, when they are anchored by the shore. We found one of those, and so it made it safe. Looked for a way to get on the iceberg, because obviously the helicopter pilot was not going to drop a tourist on an iceberg. And we're sitting there in the harbor, trying to get with like a metal dinghy towards the iceberg, because we had ice screws and wanted to actually climb that thing. I'm glad we did not do that, because overnight the shelf ice got pushed towards the iceberg, and so we could not approach it with the boat anymore. And me sitting there with the heli pilot made us connect maybe in a good level. And he said, well, I'm going to bring you over there. All you need to do is just jump out the helicopter, get on it, and he's out of that. And we did that. I put on like a life jacket under my jacket, and had like cut open the vent just to have the red pull string dangling. And once I was up on the iceberg, it was so close to the edge. So I like took a run at it, and there was a little step at the bottom that I did not see, and bottomed out. And I was sitting there on my ass looking up. I was like, was that it? Like, how am I going to go get down from here? And being on the iceberg, I had no ice axe. I should have at least had those grandma
crampons,
from the shop, like those chains for your shoes, but didn't. And so I realized, okay, an iceberg is really icy. I did not know before.
Turns
I'm
out
up there
icy.
trying to climb back up, and I'm like, there was like this one sliver of marble crush ice, total different ice, I could latch onto, and then I was starting to chisel away. Just this little ledge took me 10 minutes, holding with 2 fingers, smashing my board in just to get a little ledge. And was up there again, did a hand plant, and I'm like, having this really nice ice feature gallery of pictures from different photographers, one from Blauter and Ice Station Zebra doing a method. And so I'm like, I got to do a method to complete that series. And I start walking up again for the third go. And I realized when I put down my thread on the ice dimples, I could easily walk. I just had to put the full thread on. I was like walking. Oh, it became so easy to move on that iceberg. So gave that another go and was like up there in no time. Within like half an hour, all this went down, and the heli picked me up again. And man, I was so relieved to be getting off that thing. Definitely.
Iconic images.
Incredible.
Yeah, and you got the cover of Transworld.
Yeah. Nick Hamilton chose it. I should say Chris Wellhausen chose it at that point. Yeah, Transworld has been, always my go-to because I became exposure meter. They had the business side of Business Transworld, which also always gave me a bit of, the counterpart to like just all the crazy stuff. There's actually industry behind that. And
And for the listeners, exposure meter is basically like you have 10 million TikTok followers. It's basically saying
it's
like,
clippings, it's magazine clippings.
They would like total up, hey, you got the most covers and double page spreads and all these things, and then they would rank it, and you would be like, oh, number 1 or number 5 or whatever. But which totally doesn't exist now. So just so the listeners that are under 30.
And back then it was an award that would get sent to me to home, and with that also came the contract in play because you get incentives. Karen Yakowinsky from Burton, she always would label them with numbers and get like a lot of money.
Let's talk about those incentives. Like, let's talk about what did those incentive checks look like? Out of curiosity.
Cheddar bisque.
Oh yeah,
this was some bisque.
That's what I'm here for. 35 cap.
Woo.
35 grand.
Maxed out every year, I'm sure.
Try to. That's what brought my work ethic to. I mean, there's talent in photographers and everything. Like, that's truly what I estimate. It's not that I'm too much after the cheddar biscuit.
Yeah.
But definitely came about with
all right, next question.
Making my
What's
daddy
the photo
proud here.
incentive like for slash riders?
Oh yeah, that's really good question. Man, it's tough. Yeah. Where does all that money go?
Yeah.
I have a question. So all the years, you were 7, Unink, and then the Volcom years where you rode the Volcom boards, and then, Nike and Slash. Of all the years, what was the highest earning years?
Nike.
Okay, the swoosh.
What are we talking about here? We just got to know. Are we talking quarter mil, half mil?
Burton and Volcom together. No, let's say just Burton got me an apartment that I own, family owns, and Nike alone gave me the house that I'm living in with the family.
Woo!
Yeah,
and it's a nice
3,000
house.
square meters.
Damn. It's a lot of meters.
Yeah, 350,000 a year.
Wait a minute, that's 9,000 square feet over here.
It's a million.
It's nice.
Wow. Okay.
Good for you, bud.
Yeah. So back to this, having my own company did earn me a lot of freedom where I don't have more mortgages on the house or anywhere. So always made a good living for sure, snowboarding, and made, probably gave me a lot of independency from my parents as well. And like, even in that, realm, it's just how I live so, carelessly. I mean, taking care of money is about one thing I learned or want to give, maybe even pass on here is, save for something real.
Mm-hmm. Can I just touch on one thing there? Because earlier you said about your dad following your nose and, them coming from a humble beginnings and him like, hey, is he going to make it, make a living at snowboarding? I just think that's so cool and unique because you being in this game for 30 years and, when you started out, there really wasn't a path to like, you're going to make a living at this. Like, what is that like now when you connect with your dad and he's got to be so proud of you?
Well, it's definitely just, he put out the question, which I wanted to maybe also answer, but also including my mom and that support all the way, what she said and felt good about was also what my dad would just watch. And I got a pretty crazy story from the very, very beginning. I was 13 years old and the sponsor could not get to this flight to the San Diego trade show. And my mom would get me a passport, my first passport, just to send me off with a 21-year-old apprentice of my shop sponsor. And me as 13-year-old to San Diego trade show, and that was seeing the whole industry right there, seeing all the skateboarders. There was like, yeah, Tony Hawk, met all the Volcom guys, stayed with Volcom Stevie and Mark Iser, who I was traveling with. He was good friends with Stevie working at Volcom. And all of a sudden I see, playing pool with Johan Olofsson, Terje Hawkins, and Sebo Kuhlberg, all in tank tops in Costa Mesa. And that's just, I knew pretty early that I'm gonna make it.
Yes. And you got how old's your?
It's all family. Yeah. And I would get from EA, from Easton Anderson, my first warehouse tour, and grab a couple pieces, free stuff, and he would then give me this Volcom stone that was out of carton to fold. And everybody from the office wrote on there, like, "You're the future," and Vulca, everybody. And yeah, that has been, like, everything that was written on there gave me a lot of hope. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, how old's your oldest son? Your son?
16.
Yeah, when he was 13, would you send him from your town on his own to a trade show?
No, I'll be worried. I don't think that my parents even know how big the world is. But I can answer that question how big it is. It's really small, actually, and that's why I'm still doing what I'm doing and what I've found in that time early on.
Elaborate on the world being really small. What do you mean by that?
Well, at least wherever I go, I meet people that I know.
True, yeah.
And, can have a place to stay, so welcoming everywhere. So I definitely adopted that mentality, like, being greeted with open arms.
Let's talk about Joey's Footbeds by Joey Stanko. He's a snowboarder and a master boot fitter, and he cares about snowboarding, its culture, its community. He came out for Bombhole Cup last year, and he is an incredibly passionate person, and he has a company that you should support. Let me tell you why. He's backed with over 15 years experience in the field of boot fitting, with a daily job of preventing pain in snowboarders and skiers' feet. Also, sidebar, a lot of my friends who are pro snowboarders run these footbeds, including myself, and absolutely love them. So these footbeds feature Netsu 3D technology, providing your feet with arch support, dampening, and comfort, meaning less unwanted pressure in your ankles and knees while locking in your heel. Midfoot comfort technology allows you the maximum room for your toes and the width of your foot. These footbeds mold naturally to your feet when you ride them. They're also fully and adjustable and tweakable by your local boot fitter. So jump on joeysfootbeds.com and order yourself a pair today. Joey's Footbeds is a proud supporter of Bombhole Cup and a Patreon member. Support the little guy, Joey's Footbeds. And to be honest, he has one simple goal with this product, is to get people in the right gear so they have the best possible experience snowboarding. That's true. Joey cares, man. So check out joeysfootbeds.com. Get some custom footbeds. It'll make your snowboard experience that much better. You spend a lot of time in these boots. Get the right footbeds.
All right, we're going to take a quick intermission here to talk to you about our good friends over at Pub Beer, who just happen to be the official beer of questionable decision-making and cheap fun. That's right. You heard it here first. Whether you're just having a couple, maybe you're watching the game, Pub Beer's a great option. Cheap fun. Maybe you need 50. Did you just get dumped? Pub Beer's got you covered. Cheap fun every time. Pub Beer.
All right, folks, I had the chance to ride the 2026 Ski-Doo sleds, and these things are unbelievable. They just unleashed their most dominant deep snow lineup yet. We're talking weight reduction across the board, up to 14 pounds less wet weight on the Summit X. Industry first 32-inch ski stance on the Summit X with Expert package. Great for side hilling. I rode this thing. It's nimble. It's incredible. It fits through all the tight tree lines. You can take it on even steeper side hills, and you can explore gnarly new terrain. The free ride is back, taking riders to the extreme. all powered by the proven, reliable Rotax 2-stroke engine. They got the factory-built 850 E-Tech Turbo R. It's 180 horsepower. This baby's a whistle wagon. And they also have the naturally aspirated 850 E-Tech. And Beresford's riding this, the 600R E-Tech. It's unbelievable incentives that we haven't seen from a brand in a long time. You get 4 years of coverage if you pre-order the new 2026 Skidoo. It's guaranteed to be the best promo of the year. Spring promo is good through March 31st, 2025. So hit up your local Skidoo dealer and get one today. You will not be disappointed.
Well, let's talk about some Patreon questions here. One thing you guys should know is Gigi is actually a Patreon member that supports the Bomb Hole, which thank you so much, Gigi. That just means the world. This is from Xander307. What is your favorite skit you filmed with Whitey?
My favorite skit is probably, now looking back, Brainstorm, just because it's so dreamy, but it's the dirtiest river there is. And if you look at the movies, he also made Bulletproof, and you would see our time on that water with getting flung behind a boat on an intertube and catching mad air. Yeah, it's almost as big as a bomb hole. So we should get on to.
I got a bomb hole topic here. This is from Jordan Mead. Shout out Jordan Mead. Said, please, please, please talk about the line in Future Proof with the massive bomb hole into the flats. WTF? Explain where you are.
Is that the World Wrestling? WTF? What? What about me becoming second place on bomb hole so far? I wonder who's going to be third. Maybe JP Walker doing that big.
You're talking about bomb hole of the century?
Yeah, because I got in second after Mike Bassett.
It's behind it. Yeah, that you should have the win, but out of the helicopter, it's hard to argue. Like it's like 100 feet.
It's tough.
That's a feat.
Yours was a classic bomb hole though, off the wind lip, 120 feet or whatever that was, like straight to the hot
racing
tub. So what was the question again? What went through my head? Because there was enough time.
Just talk about it. Just talk about it.
What a day! So if anything learned from it, the 24-hour rule is real. And it has proven me 3 times on close calls already. And it all had to do with don't go out when the snow has hit the ground for 24 hours into the steeps or wherever. And that's a service announcement here because I got into so many troubles not obeying that rule. And one of them, that whole line shed from the top. I didn't know where to go. I more or less looked at, the flank to my rider's right. And so I went there not knowing what was left of me. And so chosen that option, came out just last call in front of that pillar, which just flew by me. I was probably scraping it with my belt. And landed, and where it slid on the other side, the steep part I was on, and on that part before I really launched into that bomb hole, was it was ice. When snow slides, it creates this shield of ice, and I was on, no edge would respond. I just had knee surgery the year before and just tried to be up in AK using my full budget, not have snowboard. Anyway, that was not the problem, the skills, but I did not want to destroy the knee. So I was trying to ollie this debris that was in front of where I actually then took off to ollie it and went into the debris of that slide, ollied, but set onto the knuckle, which ejected me with the right speed just out there. So I was in the air already feeling my board from the wind going up. And so I started survival, kicking holes into the air, rolling down the window, kicking chicken, and keep my head above my board. And I impacted, and also the hill I flew over had a little bit of a slab on it, and it deposited right where I landed. So I landed in dense snow, built up 3 meters easy, and so I landed soft and nothing hurt except because I was flinging my arms so much. I hit my wrist on the toe edge, but that was it. Nothing hurt. But what a wild day.
I talked to Justin Hosnick. He said it was the most scared he's ever been filming. He thought he was filming somebody dying.
I lost a couple lives on that go for sure. I mean, if I would have landed on my head and not done all that work, I was surviving.
Yeah, that bomb hole was like a cave. You could have brought the whole film crew in afterwards and hung out. Massive deposit.
And then let's talk about this 24-hour rule, because I heard you talking about it in addition to another avalanche where you got flushed all the way down the mountain. I don't know where that was.
Yeah, that was also in Alaska, back of T-top. And same thing, 24 hours, I just impacted, really put some pressure on the slope, released. And just that Christmas before, my wife presented me the first airbag, and I had it on, and I felt so ashamed to tell her that I had to use it even. But I pulled it, and it was my device to get my bum off the rocks because it was like just going over rocks. So I had my elbows into the butterfly pillows there and just put my board down and just sliding over those rocks.
How many meters did you get flushed?
It took me all the way down for sure.
Like
and it's
2,000?
No. It was maybe 700, 800 meters.
Yeah.
Wow. I've got a question as far as the safety, do you wear any sort of like a spine protector or knee pads? Like what do you wrap up for those big mountains?
When I have a backpack, I don't use a back protector. Natural selection back protector was mandatory. I have a really good one from TSG, and it works out. It's just like nothing is there, but I don't usually wear one. Helmet, I converted to being a helmet rider since years. That's where the family also comes in, and same goes for energy drink sponsors nowadays, which is a commitment too. But that's another story on the dime. Turning, no knee pads.
No knee pads?
No, but crash pants.
For a bit. Oh, okay. Hip pads.
Yeah. Definitely. I like those.
So on the steeps, the 24-hour rule too, going back to that, is basically just to really dumb it down. It's like let the snow settle don't ride it when it's touchy. Pretty simple.
Yeah, but it's tough to do because a bluebird day is a bluebird day, and I'm not particularly a fan of it because it's also a lot of crew stress. Like the filmer, everybody's antsy. I prefer the bad weather days and just less stress.
Well, yeah, all the things have lined up. You paid all the money to be at one of the best places in the world to helicopter board and film it, and then you're sitting there waiting for 24 hours for the snow to settle in and get more consolidated so it's safer to ride, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can be a straining part too. You're signing up, waiver, put your money into heli operation, but it comes down to like, when do I get to finally ride, and like, where's the kick? And you got to run through, safety procedures, and you learn so much there. And it's no beat that should be missed, but it does get like, you all got all tension, want to go, and the mountain safety just brings you back down to the ground. It's like, we are here on a bigger picture.
True.
I want to change gears and talk some more absinthe stuff. Talking to Hosnick, he was mentioning that one of his favorite memories was when you guys are in Nelson, and you've spent a lot of time in Nelson, but one particular one was when you guys were riding all the mountain bike features, just jamming around. You're going off all those wooden ramps and everything.
Well, which was side project. It's just, now it's standing out, but back then, priorities were always going up to it. Nelson definitely sparked my creativity because I spent so much time there, and we did not always afford a ticket to go ride. And so we just did stuff on the side of the road. And I think my most fun, best shot, after all, one of those Beatles moments is doing the telephone post overthrow.
The hand plant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that before? That
It's like the backflip. It's like a wildcat hand plant,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
yeah, the push off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also rode Latimer Street, my first staircase down street spot, with Marco Feichner. But what I wanted to say to do that, got the keys to the city because we were afraid to get busted. And so I tell to Justin, I really want to ride this though, and why not go ask at the mayor's office? And went in there, and they just pretty much told us, yeah, just don't ride there during lunchtime when the school is off and there's a lot of pedestrians. Otherwise, just, go. And that was nice, getting the nod of approval there. And later on, with the locals, they brought us up to those mountain bike trails and gave that a go. It was with Jeff Curtis filming for Absinthe, and Jeff Curtis taking photos for Burton.
And flying around also, Nelson was talking to Nico, and he was saying that you guys have such a good dynamic when you're flying around, where you're able to, basically, whether it's AK, whether it's Nelson, but I'd love to talk about your and Nico's dynamic, how you guys have like an unspoken thing where you both know, okay, Gigi's going to ride that, I'm going to ride this. You want to ride the same similar terrain. You're able to feed off each other.
Well, I honestly look up to Nico, and so it comes a little bit more like I totally want to see what he's doing. If there's a vantage point, I go and get down there and watch him. And so maybe that's the play off each other. I hope he enjoyed, me maybe dropping him first and testing the ground. But usually, I'm super motivated when it comes to shredding with Nico. And he's got no problem finding an alternative line. Maybe that's it. We just, play it as it comes.
We have a question. This is from Vole Nivelt. It's a long one, so saddle up and God bless Vole. Here we go.
Hello, Bombhole. Hey, Chris. Gigi, what's up, man? How are you? Vole speaking here. So freaking rad to hear you in the studio, and can't wait to hear that episode, obviously. First off, massive congrats for your performance at Natural Selection. The whole crew was cheering you on over here, and absolutely proud to see you rip that hard, man. It reminded me of a bunch of trips we did together, especially backcountry and natural terrain. AK comes to mind, where I've seen so much sick stuff from you. We all know it takes quite some preparation, a lot of patience, and then when it's on in a few minutes, and you're up on a sick feature. Amazing line, and I watched you kill it so hard over there. So I was always amazed how quickly you can turn it on, but also in the same time, keep it spontaneous, let things fall into place, make shit up, and choose some of the most creative tricks and spots. So I guess my question is, could you elaborate a bit about your mindset of your, I would say, professional but spontaneous approach to snowboarding? I think Nico and you really stand out in that category of making snowboarding look like an art form. So I was wondering if you could fill us in on your secrets. Thanks.
Yeah, big shout out to the Aestheticers. They're definitely one crew that I admired since the beginning. Tom Reichheis, my friend Sani, and then coming strong, obviously, the El Presidente, Steve Gruber, along with Vole, and Friedel Kohler, being one of the first going back to, my days, early days, getting my first competition experience. And, Beckner, another Aesthetiker. So that crew goes hard in Zillertal, putting on a lot of stuff for the kids. So much love from the bomb hole here. And going into the mindset, it's the appreciation to have made my dream come true. And there is a bit of, the safety factors that hold me in check. it's a build up to every moment, and dropping in is definitely making the choice of letting go of a lot of things and being in the moment. And so I usually try to find the feeling where I'm looking forward to being in that moment of like riding, and then I think it's a good call. So yeah, it just heightened my comfort level along the way. It was the first time dropping in AK with Iker Fernandez, and remembering like I'm not a good snowboarder, I should not maybe be here. That feeling, and that curtain has been lifted a bit, and I've learned my little things. Also, obviously, the mindset goes back retaliating from my way I look at snowboarding through that Project 6 video and everything. So there's some AK lines in there. Everybody, so taking that replica as well, doing the right thing, not being caught up in the circus pit, as Kevin Young would say, and all that is in that video. So my mindset, definitely stems from that. And I cannot thank Volde enough for our time in Future Proof, where it was so touchy out there that even the low angle slopes would slide, and we would just start navigating by another video saying from Noah Salasnik, like, or maybe it was an interview, dropping in on the toes is a thing. And I look at lines really quick because I know I got to drop in on my toes. So that's my first turn, goes from looker's right to looker's left. And there it opens up those alleyways. I'm not dropping in over exposure. Like I'm not an alpinist. Like keeping the fall line clear. So of everything I do, perspectives change, filmers, photographers, they make it look spectacular. But I'm definitely in a comfort zone and have my don'ts. And then push each other through riders, but always in the dialogue, more or less.
You mentioned something at dinner the other night that it was almost like when you clock in an AK, you're kind of like clocking in. The way I heard it was almost like special forces or something. Was that what you were trying to say?
Like the down days, I gotta give a shout out to Kurt Westell there. We went future proof hard in that gap jump that Brendan Ruff and they built and did not end up hitting. So I came in as another wild card on that. There's two sides to AK. One is the down days, and then there's the on days, and you purely feel like I personally did purely feel free. Like I hit the upper echelon of snowboarding where I can become a better snowboarder. So I put everything forward to that experience. Becoming a better snowboarder was when, like nobody else wanted, to feature it as a sport. So it became to us like our expression, I guess, all forces combined. And it does go again into the safety aspect, given that second safety net on everything, and then there's the skills to build up the bag of tricks, everything you can apply and adopt, and pushing the big mountain genre, freestyle genre I should say, pushing the big mountain freestyle genre is really what Wole, Nico, we were carved out to do. We were like the top dogs there. And with Justin, building that platform for us. And Brewsty. I haven't mentioned Brewsty yet. Just a photographer turned filmer turned photographer. Yeah.
It seemed to me like you guys were leading that charge of like, we're going to hit all the freestyle spots in Europe and then hit Grizzly Gulch and do these things in the States and in Canada. But then when you got up to AK, it was like the
everything became secondary.
Yeah. You're really trying to like manifest these tricks on the gnarliest, biggest canvas. I guess my question, I'm just kind of curious, when you look at those faces, are you you know, because you only get 30 seconds sometimes or whatever it is. Are you mentally like going through like, I'm going to flow down over here and pop a method? And then like, what's going through your head? Like, are you seeing the line first or like, where are you at with that?
Yeah, for sure. And take pictures, zoom in, talk about it, and find a safe way down, the one that makes the most sense. Definitely sticking with that. You look reference point, all that you have ever heard before, and probably some Jeremy Jones stuff, but it was our call for, you know, incorporating freestyle and make those so much talked about boring video parts somewhere attractive. Sure, we were like kids in a kiddie pool in comparison, you know, of Tom Bird's lines and what has been done there. It was just sheer unbelievable seeing Mendenhall Towers and how small of a speckle you end up being, you know. And again, it's a matter of perspective, but to me, it's a training ground to become a better snowboarder. And it's so fluffy and nice, and the ride-outs are banks onto, you know, sometimes over Bergschrons, which is just another firecracker in that realm. But to ride such lines in Europe where the terrain ends up in all these terrain traps and things like that, you're not able to ride that stuff anywhere else. It's coastal, snowpack, you know, it's just different. And if you have that opportunity, keep that exit free, like keep that exit open. And that's what Alaska provides, is these enormous long outruns when you just have to go straight.
Yeah. It also
chases you.
Can you elaborate on like kind of the setting? Because it seems to me there's like such a wealth of knowledge. Like you talk about Tom Burt, he was like a guide there at SEBA and all these guides. And I feel like in that era, you were very intertwined in like getting the knowledge firsthand, right? Like what was that like? Like, did it feel like coming from Europe, like your avalanche training and background was, I mean, what? Now you're up in Alaska and the pinnacle.
I sucked it all up. And even Tom Burt, he would show me, and this was time when, you know, the fog rolls in and you have like things to do. We made the, you know, LC for the heli. We dug it out and we were constantly moving. Like we made, you know, LCs, PCs, which are landing zones and pickup zones. And one time Tom Burt gave me the rope he got in his backpack and pulled it out and showed me a poor man's avalanche bomb, which was done as like flinging the rope over the cornice and then change spots, and then you're sawing it down. And if you get the size, what could be your weight of a human, maybe a little bit more, and you test the slope, and that's how you knew how you could jump cornices, if the slope is holding your weight. And there's those all sorts of crazy mechanical tricks you can apply. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, just it's something how to find out.
You know, it's an interesting thing. We could go back to some beekeeping stuff, but one thing you didn't talk about is how they're able to lift their own weight. Which
that's a bumblebee.
Shouldn't be physically possible.
Yeah, the bumblebee, I guess, it does vibrate in other megahertz. It creates this field that's other different vibration than usually would exist. I don't know, probably have all that mentality to let the diaphragm, I don't know, maybe they got something going on, but actually their wings are not like as big as they should be for lifting their weight. So by changing that field of vibration into another set of megahertz allows them to actually fly. And I'm a strong advocate of keeping it afloat.
Dude, that explains how he lands all the time.
He's in a different frequency. He's on a different frequency.
Because your legs, that's a fact. No offense, they're not the biggest legs out there.
Yeah.
But somehow
you're on the bumblebee frequency.
You seem to stop.
Yeah, it's the bumblebee frequency. We got to tap in.
Definitely eye up that landing before you leap. And just, either you expect the worst and I really loosen up and let it happen, or I'm just there to sting. Like that backside 180 I did against Niels,
That was
which
incredible.
I had to do.
Stinger.
I went all blind. I knew I was on the double set end and flying off. And as soon as I took off, I was like imagining this tranny there, just landing into it. And that's what I did. Blindside.
Dude,
But
you could give me 20 tries to back 180 off of that. I'm not landing a single one.
You
That was
manifested the
magical.
landing.
That was a Bumblebee, actually.
Insane.
Yeah,
You
definitely
Bumblebee it.
pictured it and tried to go late to get as long view of the landing, but just turned my nose in. Camber just works so good. My ATV here does it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think it would be a cool thing to talk about because with all of your, Vole has a question about this, but it's kind of unrelated to what we're talking about because we already covered it. But his part 2 was, with all the years of experience that you have on your snowboard, have you taken all those years of experience and applied them into building your Slash snowboards?
Yeah, and the Slash snowboards are not only a thing I built from past experience, it's more aimed to also keeping my current experience at its freshest. And so I updated it. I had a original Slash shape, and that's where we could get into the beef. So why did you copy me or Solomon?
What's that?
On your pro model.
Which one?
Well, that
The
has-
Salamander?
Yeah, the Salamander.
I do. I have, as far as board technology, I had nothing to do with it. All I said is I want a soft rail board.
And why was the campaign called Weapons of Slash Destruction? I felt really...
I didn't come up with any of that, but yeah, you got to take that up with the marketing part. All I did was draw.
No,
a
it's also
napkin.
the technicals of the pound because they were the first ones to come up with like, we got pattern for this, we got pattern for that, like throwing threads out when I'm like presenting my first booth. And did not feel welcome in the industry doing my own thing right off the bat. But how it led to it, starting Slash, was the Volcom board program was not going anywhere. And I was already on Nike during that time. And when Volcom became public, I had to reassess what family means and loyalty. And, early on already, my wife told me, sort of coming out of the Unink era, it's not a team sport. And that was 2009, 2010. And really went more about on my own terms. I mean, the run head to toe with Volcom in the 3-4 years we had, that was my dream come true as well as there was, unimagined stories like the iceberg and things that happen. But when it became public, Volcom, I was like, might as well the same. Like, we talked a lot about youth against establishment and all this, and social realm. And when it became like quite the same as Nike, I was like, okay, gotta hunt the cheddar biscuit.
Yep.
Hunt it down. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, afforded. The investments, it's a big part of investments as I can make my choices for my sponsors. And that gives a big shout out to, whoever helped me onto the way. There's so many names to mention. Everything.
So I got a question. When you started Slash, was this on your own two shoulders, kind of no investors? Like, paint the picture for, hey, I'm going to just launch my own snowboard brand right now.
So Arthur and me, Arthur Longo, we were not as happy with the Volcom boards that we had at the time. And it was really turned the clock back to embarking on 9191, knowing that I have 1 year to film a Volcom movie. I had a board that did not work that well for me. I was getting really nervous about for a moment. And we tried to get better boards made, which ultimately happened. And the last one we did through Volcom's budget was Arthur and me got onto Nidecker to build us some camber boards. And when that year I decided to then not ride for Volcom anymore, I had so many ideas, which then became Slash. which I put on a table, and they helped me start it off. And the first sales meeting I was at was Jeremy Jones being in that same group, and the other Unink boys, which I separated from because DCP, JP, and Ramon were doing their snowboards. And me coming into that, I was definitely not welcome. There was a lot of problems at hand. They had quality issues and whatnot. And then obviously with Ramon, they all like acted up really aggressive against who the Nidecker brothers were. I'm like really in an uncomfortable space. Like, I'm not welcome. And sure, it's the industry, right? You're in direct competition and want a piece of that pie. But really for me, first year I made the straight snowboard directional shape and a freestyle board, no taper. I got second on the Supernatural, and yeah, it was just so fulfilling that I had a board I could rely and land on the nose and be committed to ride. And so I basically made boards to, where I felt like a beat was missing and all boards were round, and I had come up with, the kickstand as an identity. And yeah, that's how that went.
So you started making boards just because you wanted a particular board to ride?
Yeah, and I had ideas how to make them look different. And yeah, later on, I got to put on Johnny Paxson on the team. And when the checks did not come in from Nidecker that were agreed on contractually, I was asking, like, where's the money? And he said, like, Slash is not profitable. And my reply was, well, I don't want to lay on your purse. Just hand it over. I've already been doing that, just had the selling part. And so I took on Slash. I had to make a transaction to actually get the trademark from US / trademark. And now I have it in China and Europe. But so a lot of money went into that, and we just never got paid, rightfully so. On my own terms.
So now the way it operates, you own it, and you were telling me it's a family business.
Yeah.
So your son's gonna take it over? What's the plan?
That is definitely the bomb that my kiddo dropped. I was like, oh man, am I gonna make this last and survive? And I sort of come up there. He put the pressure on with that, saying that he wants to run Slash in the future. That's his way. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna make that work? Yeah.
Cool. And you were telling me you guys make kids boards too.
Oh yeah. That might be the kids team. That's where he should actually now come in and take over the TM role of the kids team. That would be a good idea for Oscar, our youngest, to take on the company already. We have definitely got kids boards. They start at 110, continue 120, 129, because 129 was my first hazmat board that I got sponsored, and was always into that size. And with that, I want to say the kids, they have the right amount of weight and agility when they're 6 years, 7 years old to put some edge weight pressure on there and ride actually a snowboard and not like feel like a rolled up ball and does not go anywhere. So I didn't force my kids to snowboard. It's just come like through naturally, and I've just felt like I'm not going to make any smaller boards than a 110.
Now, do you find yourself slowing down a little bit in your older age, maybe getting off hill a little earlier? Well, you could be dehydrated. 75% of Americans are dehydrated. And that goes up when you're at elevation, when you're in the mountains. So I drink Bubs Hydrate or Die hydration packets. There's 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes. There's no added sugar. There's no artificial flavors. Let me tell you, when I'm hydrated, I ride better, I can ride longer. I have more energy. All in all, my vitality is just better. So if you're interested in picking up some Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die, head on over to bubsnaturals.com and use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order. And stay hydrated, people, with Bubs Naturals Hydrate or Die. All right, we're going to talk about Herschel outdoor equipment. You may have seen them. We give them to all of our guests that win Name That Video part. Pack them full of Bombhole merch. They are sleek, and they're introducing a brand new performance line for travel and the outdoors. They got Alpine inspired and designed with multi-functionality for the first chair or last-minute flight. I personally use all Herschel gear when I travel. I use the roller bag. I use the big roller bag. They got great backpacks. And the one thing I like, you can take your backpack and slide it over your roller bag, and you can be a true pro traveler. All their stuff's really well made, and they're building a team. They got Arthur Longo and the Dust Box on board already. So if you're interested in getting some sleek new travel gear, check out Herschel.com. All right, folks, we're going to talk about brain buckets. We're talking helmets. We're going to talk about the Method Pro helmet from Smith. Now, the main thing for me about this helmet is how lightweight it is. You pick it up, the thing weighs nothing. It's got to be the lightest helmet I've ever picked up. And I like it because it's more of a park-inspired design for the park rats out there on the steel. And it's not big and clunky. When you're jibbing, when you're hitting park jumps, you want something nimble. Nobody wants a big, clunky helmet. It also has the zonal choroid technology, which is kind of like a honeycomb. I don't even know how to describe it. It's this really lightweight honeycomb technology to help protect from impact, as well as, of course, MIPS, which all good helmets should have. It's got the BOA system on the back to tighten, and then obviously it interfaces perfectly with the Smith goggles. So it's a great helmet through and through. If you're interested in checking one out, head on over to smithoptics.com. You can use promo code BOMBHOLE15, and that will take 15% off your first purchase from Smith. Again, BOMBHOLE15 at smithoptics.com. All right, I want to get into first maybe NBDs. Never been done's. So we talked about first loop, covered that.
Hopefully this doesn't come off the wrong end, but yeah, I got a couple of claims. Definitely the first street loop. And then, where was I at? The bonk on Heber up here in Utah.
Tail tap.
Yeah, Justin Benny was on the outrun. He's not seen that ever before. Like a tail tap to rewind, like just to change the direction during a trick. And I also claimed the first redirect in Ready on the Herman parking lot, Baker, and well, she came the first time Baker got, but that's a side note. Again, bring that back. I would like a shotgun on that one.
Shotgun.
Okay, I got you.
Requesting a shotgun, please.
Got you.
So what was the redirect?
Hold on.
Back 270, do back over rotate. Yeah, I just haven't seen a redirect before intentionally, jumping off one end and landing in the opposite wall. Nothing to suggest for not weak knees.
Miller flip.
Miller flip was another one. That's still an argument with Andy Wright, who pulled this photo up of Frederick Evanson doing one. But when I haven't seen that photo, but I was with Blotto and trying, I'm going to do a BMX trick, like hands down on this beam that was right at my hometown, and end up as a Burton ad. And yeah, it definitely rang in a change for me how to look at. And all of a sudden, pillows became, the hand drag was the next thing that came off that spin-off. I saw JP Walker doing a bit of like mini shred stuff and like pushes off. And, and his McTwist sometimes would look like just flung. And that's what I did on the backside of that telephone pole in Optimistic. Almost got run over by a school bus, which is another reference for the Beatles there. So I was definitely like how to create good times being in that mind space.
Yeah, that's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough, because it's way easier to go to like a cheese wedge and do a 720 than it is to go to like a 10-foot pillow and do a back five
and land on the pillow and get a usable shot on smaller stuff.
Nico will call it organic snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
I
feel
like that.
Would you be doing it whether the cameras are rolling or not? Would you be doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just playfulness and turning, small features on a bigger canvas like AK. That what has done it. Like, like being in that setting, you don't need to do the most crazy thing. Like everything becomes gnarly on the scale. And yeah, it's just something about those mountains and formations. I find it also in Canada and pillows and just that obscure dream of snowboarding that, I'm so grateful to be traveling and making this world,
The obscure dream of snowboarding is well said. We're going to get into a segment of the show here. Bjorn, do you know what this might be?
Name that video part.
I think you're right.
Let's go.
How are you feeling, Gigi?
Been good. There's only a 50-50 chance always. So either 5 or 10.
Smart.
So what's your confidence level? 0 to 10? 9?
Yeah,
Wow.
Which also means no.
High level.
In German.
9, yeah. 9,
Not the
9,
way I
9.
said it.
9. Don't do it.
Okay, here we go. Godspeed.
The only thing you need to do right here is nod your fucking head.
Wow. Okay, I'm blown away because now the nervousness caught up to me. I would definitely like on the song choice reference MFM, but it is Nicholas Müller in Vivid. Backs at 180 in Whistler.
Yes.
Yeah. Riding with Iker Fernandez.
Dang.
All right, so
Time seen and learned.
Give the man his phone. I thought you didn't have it, though. Look on your face.
I was so nervous. My pulse went all the way up to my glands here.
Wow.
Gotta keep the
I thought you didn't
fluid.
have it. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I got the package.
You got a
hats for the family.
Oh, yeah, you're dialed in there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
What a relief. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
That's big for everybody.
Just a 10.
Yeah, none of those gimme prizes.
No, that was a good one.
It nailed it.
Legit. All right, part 2 of Name That Video part is for the listeners. If
Bust the rhyme.
Yeah, great track. If you know the song, comment on the photo of Gigi on Instagram. That's where we pick our winner on the Bombholes IG. Here we go.
You need a heart that's filled with music. If you use it, you can fly.
Okay, thank you guys for playing Name That Video part.
Really good choices there, Chris.
You know the second one, I'm sure. But you don't need to say it.
Okay.
But
I
you know
keep it. I mean, not really, but I'd like to think of tea.
Yeah. Just keep it. We'll stop there.
Warm or hot.
Yeah, good. Well said. All right. We're going to get into a huge freaking topic that we haven't breezed over. Some would say your opus. 9191. Jake Price basically said, Billy gave you guys kind of the keys, you and Jake, the keys to make this movie. And you're obviously headlining the project. It's a major marquee Volcom film, which has a great legacy behind it. So there's a lot to live up to in that. So I was curious, like going into making 9191, what was your mentality? Were you stressed out?
Yeah. It was a big decision coming off Burton, and what made that happen was Billy and his tactic to throw in a movie budget on what was called an option year at Burton. I just needed a matching offer that they could not outbid, and that's what transferred me over to being head to toe with Volcom. I was already on streetwear since 91. They began quickly after, maybe 93. I got to know of Volcom, but felt like there from the start, knowing the original owners and everybody. Big shout out there, and I started that, and along the way, it made me go from Burton to Volcom, and yeah, that's been pretty big. Like a Volcom movie, like following up legacies of Subject Hawkinson and getting I would like to call it carte blanche as like the keys. And I could just like I was asking Billy like what do you expect, and he's like, yeah, just do whatever the fuck you want. And it was going to be like, okay, I can get writers that are not on Volcom into this movie. So brought up Jake Blowell to AK first time, and still ran tough with the Volcom crew, and getting Bjorn Linus in there on the Chile segment. We were hitting the cliffs Rippy did in old videos, and we were just out there and riding Volcano, seeing it glow at night, being fully active, and yeah, that was our final push we did, and handed off, like Jake Price handed off the whole memory storage of it and turned it into a movie, and we edited it in Hawaii at the Volcom House and at Pipeline. And Billy's family was there, my family was there, Jake Price. We were, on the way there, stopped in New York, filmed the Maloof Cup with Chris Fanner, who is a skateboarder on Volcom, coming from the same town, and filmed him on some Super 8. And so we got like a skateboard interlude. So, combining what Volcom stood for and all the lifestyles. Yeah, except surfing maybe, but we were surfing the snow. But however, Opus is a good one.
And also, what about the soundtrack? Is an interesting topic.
Oh yeah, Baron composed the soundtrack, so it's all original score. And yeah, we just looked for tracks that would speak to us, and me always giving leeway to the editor and filmmaker was a strong input from Jake Price, and got Jamie Lynn into the studio, and he delivered tracks that emphasized on also the time and the brotherhood I felt from Billy and his brother's passing, Jeffy, where I was there and witnessing the whole thing, the loss, and that threw me for a spin, got me lost in the world for longing and home, because Jeffy ultimately had a ticket in his hand to come to my home, but we never could conclude it, because I went home after his death happened and went on right away. My mom understood, my parents understood, had to do it, went straight across over to Mammoth again, was there, and Brian Iguchi was so good talking to after he had experienced the same loss with Tristan in Wyoming in an avalanche, and so that helped me a lot, and we became family in the more so the word fact. Billy is like godfather of my oldest son, and Blado is of the youngest, so definitely snowboarding became this extension to it and what we give for it. And 9191 just definitely is an opus in that sense. Roster, who else did we bring in? I mean, there's so many crazy. It happened in 1 year, made that video in 1 year. And like I said, I'm looking up to Bjorn all my life, and we get to spend just us two. The time in Chile meant a lot, and so definitely opened up, for Jake Blowell. I think that was memorable because we've done some early missions to AK, like even February, which were mind blowing from the light standpoint, and with Jake Blowell, we would pop off some rodeos and things like that, and it was really good time. I cannot do you have any question I could highlight on?
I'm sure Bjorn, he was there, so I have some, but Bjorn, why don't you tee off?
I mean, I just think highlight wise, it seemed to me like you guys were going so hard filming like across Canada and your hometown, back home and across Europe. And, when you brought up Subject Hawkinson, that film really like kind of followed Terry around the globe for the year. And it felt very similar to that, where like you and Jake were joined at the hip. And to me, you were putting down, some of your best snowboarding, like kind of a culmination, if you will, like the front 1080s, the, back double corks, like, and I don't know if that was
Switchback Rodeo 7 tail grab.
Switchback Rodeo 7 tail, like, I mean, and, flowing in AK and all that stuff, like, man, I was just impressed with the overall delivery, right? Like the amount of high-level snowboarding in that movie, because nowadays you look at pros and they'll film a video part, and yeah, it's like, 3 minutes long or something if you're lucky, like, and stretch it out to like a double song is like huge, right? Like that's like, oh, I just filmed the greatest part of my life. But you had 25-minute video that was mainly you. That was like pretty crazy.
Dave Lombardo from Slayer delivering a drum set, like watching my AK footage on his drum set. I'm playing the whole helicopter drums. Yeah, I definitely would say that, it wasn't just me, but to reach that level of, always hear other references of like, oh, Subject Hawkinson is my favorite movie. So it did mean a lot and depicted one writer. I don't see myself being that full story of talent and everything. I just draw the inspiration from snowboarding, and it, definitely took some sort of an army, but everybody who was just there on the place, there was nothing forced. It was like spontaneous in a way as well, like dropping, ice rhymed steep walls, like doing like rock rides, like all the boxes had to be ticked, that I had inspiration from.
Yeah, the thing I like to kind of highlight too, like you're saying, getting that much footage in 1 year is incredible. And if you think about having that much pressure of this giant budget, and Volcom's like, we're giving you everything, you're the guy, make the best video. And Jake was saying that you just went out casually and just got clips every day, and you didn't buckle under the pressure, like you were having fun.
Yeah, and I know that, the outerwear was made to my liking, and so many things, that, in the product development space, I gotta say as well, and the art of Volcom, always, the art department's huge, and Billy just kept the pressure off. And I gotta thank also Remy Stratton and Troy Eckhart and everybody in there allowing to leap over a budget for just snowboarding. There were many others that in that company that had red dudes and girls and stuff going on. But the focus definitely now in hindsight, was a good one.
That's a key theme though. The fact that you weren't buckling under pressure. I think your approach to life, like how you're calculated and you're planning and you're working hard, but at the same time, when it comes to that moment, and the natural selection would be a good full circle moment, is you just kind of rise to that occasion and get in balance with your environment.
And muscle memory.
Muscle memory, exactly.
Expectation is
the bag of tricks. Yeah. It might be close at the bottom, but what lives in there, yeah.
It's a deep bag.
Definitely another claim I'd like to think of. Yeah.
How deep your bag?
Well, it doesn't contain any backside 360s. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, now it does, but I still consider it alley-oop. If you go off the pillow into a shoot from the Lucas, right?
I'd like to talk about a particular trick in there that is maybe not the obvious best trick in there, but my favorite trick is there's a T-bar in front of the frame, and you do a method, and you go up, you hold melon, and then it's like a hip, kind of like a natural quarter pipe hip thing, and you launch a method.
How come you're mentioning this one? It's the spot I learned snowboarding
That's
on
at home.
with my brother.
That's your home resort.
That's like where I've done my first tail grab, or like first cornice drop. Like it's a natural half pipe, and the lifty always would get angry, when it's really steep at the end, so the T-bar makes you kind of like, wakeboard and shoot you out holding on to the T-bar, and would always launch that end. You give it a bit of like, resistance, and it just takes you off the end, and it would just, be so fun. And he would always turn off the lift, like, stop crossing the track, and we would be there because it was a natural half pipe, and that's intentionally visited that Didamskopf resort just for that.
Cool.
Yeah, Frode Sandbeck was there. Actually, there's one frontside 5 cork. I'm going over the head. Front flip is, you can see the hometown I grew up with on lower down in the valley.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's just got such a good blend of obviously going to AK and doing the blockbuster gnarly lines and everything, but then you're hitting a step down, you do a back 180, and then you cab 9 like a 20-foot step down, and you're just like, that was fucking incredible. Just shredding.
It was just cab 5. I'm not like, my spinning is not up there, but it's the way to, catching endless air, just rolling down the windows. That's pretty much what I picture when I do a cab 9. Until we
gotta
got
work
that
on that
wrong.
visualization technique,
you'll be the guy to come in on that cap 9 mute. Or how, Bjorn, I was such a fan of your backside 5 with the method tweak upside down. I think you did it in that raglan shirt and a pullover sweater from Volcom. You remember? I think it was X Games.
Yeah.
You pulled that out, and then you had one shot on your yellow forum board, which was in Sultan, where you came up with Peter Line and to do the summer camp, Killer Camp, it was called. And I was always there in summer with my sister, so we'd spend time on the glacier, like maximize time off school to go snowboarding and be at summer camps. Yeah, heydays. And I've always been a big fan. It's just become really tough for me to now bring it back down on my feet. I don't know, like going off the toes into a backside. I always called it misty flip, but I think there's a debate out there about that. But anyway, a misty flip with the backside grab with sort of tweak, not like melon or flawless, but with a tweak. You're the first one to really do that, which became a staple for the Swiss prodigies, Freddy and Nico. And I would call it the Swiss Army knife. It's this front flip you only do a 180 with, but it counts as a 5. And if you incorporate that into a cap takeoff, their cap 9s became real easy and could stomp it anywhere. And I just always was the squared up Peter Line influenced hillside satanic, as Mikey LeBlanc always put it. I just couldn't get it off the toes, except maybe on the chicane or whatever. But I even go flat base on that one. Yeah.
That's funny how
Tough
you
todio.
have a block about going that way, and then I could count the amount of back rodeos, 5s and 7s I've ever done. Because I kind of have a block about going over that
looking
way.
at
So it's
1 o'clock. Yeah, Mikey LeBlanc taught me that one.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, just off the takeoff, 1 o'clock.
All right, for a guy who can't chicane, what's the key? What's the ticket?
The lawn dart, just Superman. Have you ever seen Getting Some with Jason Brown launching into the Superman? I mean, he's a goofy rider, which puts it in my perspective to switch. And didn't grab after that, but that's what I do.
That's it. Then you go flat base.
Yeah, it's like a cap 180 front flip.
Not off the toes.
No, I chigoink it.
Chigoink?
Chigoink off the like nollie.
It's a
chigoink. A cab ollie.
Chigoink. One thing that's interesting about the 9191, I think when Billy was on, you might have had a guest question, or I can't remember, but there's something about the 9191 Premier Tours like buckling you guys.
Yeah, we only carried a backpack. We could not have any checked-in luggage because the travel schedule was so tight. There's no waiting for baggage or getting baggage lost. We, ran to the airport, caught the next plane, went from West Coast, California was the world premiere when all the cities through even the small towns, Wyoming, we were probably in Utah here as well, Colorado, all the way to Minnesota, which was my first time in the Three Lakes area, and then back to Vancouver. And I think from Vancouver we went to Korea, to Japan, then to Europe. It was crazy. There were probably some Canadian cities more in there, like Toronto. Oh man, yeah, unbelievable. Like rockstar, definitely. Lot of signatures back then. Still no selfies, cell phones, and whatsoever. But yeah, a lot of patience and yeah, just grinding down with the people.
How many beers?
It came to the ultimate. We ended in Munich, where I do remember David Benedict was there, but we were so haggard, and they took us to Oktoberfest, and you get a big pint like this, and I think I downed maybe one or two, but I was full of that juice and buckled. I don't remember anything on stage because I was so tired. Like my eyelids were holding up by toothpicks. And yeah, Happy Hour was another good one. We had some Hofbrauhaus action in Munich as well, and it ended up kicking off with Ika. And the whole
the party footage is in the bonus. And
yeah, the bonus sections. Have you ever seen the bonus section of 9191?
No, maybe.
Legendary with Jake Price putting in those 20 second, oh no, probably 2 minute fillers of random stuff, like good stuff. Oh man, you'll see some drunk people on that. Gotta watch it. Bring it up.
That was back when Jake was huffing darts every 30 seconds.
No, definitely not. But Vernon Deck was around. Big shout out to him.
Yeah.
And Vernon Deck, and it was incredible times. Got to ride also, with Terrier, and everything felt like good, like good old, memory lane.
You guys did it right. That tour was, I remember seeing the printout on like Transworld or whatever, and it was like 30 cities, just like you described, all across America to Canada to the other side of the world, just
all
back to back to back.
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore.
Well, I mean, with Forum, tell us how was like those premieres. You must have had a lot of signatures given.
But what about too, though? Also at the same time, the Unink era, you guys were larger than life. Like you guys must have had some crazy premiere tours in that era, right?
I mean, if you mention crazy, it's usually because Roman was there.
Yeah,
and there was times where some offensive stuff happened for sure, like tying up Sean White on the stool with clear tape and hanging him off the bridge on his swim trunks, giving him the meanest wedgie, and and also like some controversial stuff definitely, but always stuck up for each other, and Roman would call me wolf in a sheep's skin, and he might be right. I mean, there's always some mischief going on the way, and I always try to keep it eye level with people, not being too abusive, and there definitely some stuff happened, like when Jeff went away. We were really long hesitating on filling in the spot because it just couldn't happen. Billy made a graphic one year that was called "We're on Ink," taken from Jeffy saying "I'm on Ink," because Jeffy's first Transworld interview was "I'm snowboarding," and that just there were some wild times, and just felt like there's so much we've done in the team that it had to come to gotta look for something else in snowboarding and explore the world like I did with the industry world. I'm saying just how I did throughout my other sponsor decision. I didn't have an agent. I've always been how do you say?
Self-represented.
Yeah, I always represented myself, except during the shift to Nike. I felt like that was too big of a glob to not do without any lawyers in the back, because if lawyers would have come in, the agent has to, take it on his permission. I think did not leave anybody harmed in the way where maybe the sheepskin comes in, but initiate definitely those tours. Yeah, crazy stuff.
I want to go back and really talk about this because, like, Burton, when you left Burton and went Volcom head to toe, that was major. And I feel like we breezed over it, but you didn't really give a full explanation on your reasons why.
Exploring the world, or industry world. And I'm saying it the same way I did before. So, no, it was about exploring the industry world and finding out who makes what. And so I've had my good run with Burton, and the product cycle ended and something new had to come up. And I was in talks with Danny Davis. We're the ones that were kept from Burton after DCP, JP, and Ramon. They, probably got the boot, and we were still on. And during that time where Easy Living was born, I threw a couple names in the hat and had brainstorming, a lot of emails back and forth, what it will be that is the next after Seven, next after Unink. I felt like this can't be it. I'm like, I need to break out and see what other wheels are spinning. And I went on to Union, right and bright, committed. No turning back. It was a severe decision, a cut. And I want to say what Danny then did with Easy Living, and that is super cool. But I was gonna make a Volcom movie, and that's what it became. That is part of that decision. Then I was also on Nike at that time already, so I went Union, Nike, and Volcom had two ankles because I was already on Nike boots while I was doing all head to toe period, and then I just signed for outerwear additionally on Nike.
You backed up the old Brinks truck in the front yard, huh?
boop, boop, boop. Gotta unload some gold here real quick.
Yeah.
Dumped it in the front yard.
Oh yeah, I got a skate ball in the front yard. So it's like, if heaven was a half pipe, I'm driving up to your house.
So let's talk about when you go over to Nike. Obviously, they're known for having these huge contracts, backed up the Brinks truck, all that. And then they make this movie, Never Not. Carlino's the director, producer. And this movie was one of the most expensive snowboard movies ever made, from what I understand. And you had Ender, which was fucked up. I have a question. I'm curious. Were you and Nico like competing for Ender? Was there a little friendly competition there?
So what made it the biggest movie budget was definitely the music budget that was put in, and Nico definitely was accounting for the biggest song, and I might have just played, my game right with having my Pirates filmer, Flo Eckhart. Shout out, and to Basti Balzer. Did we get it? Yeah. Bring out the horns. And then that, was a well-known connection that I already had built out of, friendship and partnership that led to just filming another season like there was no other, and ended up in last part, had like a little black and white opening, which is kind of mysterious. It was this one day that the resort was closed because of too much snow. Just always grinding. Cyril Mueller was taking the photo on those sessions, and we would be trying this Miller flip over this tunnel, landing in the tunnel bank, and it was right next to a train track, and as I'm hiking up, I realized that the train is coming, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't want to get busted. And I hide in the bushes, and I had red pants on, and the whole train stopped. And I'm like, no, they busted us. So I sort of like climbed up the ladder again on top of the tunnel, like looking left and right, where do I go? And it's sort of run from the situation. And the Cyril and Flo was saying the train conductor came to them and asking like if everything was all right. He stopped the train because he thought somebody needed help. And he got the number to them and told him like, please call my bosses that this incident was real. That's why he stopped the train. And he went on, and I later on called the train conductor and thanking him for looking out. And was the wrong reaction I did, and trying to hide.
Little wolf in sheep's clothing there. So try to Louis Vito around the situation.
Really
the question is really...
Were you trying to compete with Nico Ferenda? Were you like, I'm getting...
No, I did not see what Nico was doing. We don't ride all that much at that time. Okay. He was obviously in his home turf, Lax, and filming with Bruce D, probably on 16. And Pirates were just already on the 4K and, you know, getting the sweet shots. And Kalina must have liked it and put it together to, incredible song, and I think I can be happy with it.
How was filming? Because it was you, Kazu, and Craven for a bunch of it, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, just Craven just talked to me about that and Stronger, and he was a lot in together with Kazu and showing him around, you know, his turf. Unfortunately, I wasn't much in Canada for that one. I broken my upper humerus, spiral fractured, and on the last day in Japan, filming in January. So I flew, like I went to the hospital with, you know, the filmer Flo, and it was my last day. The next day I had my ticket, and they just told me, you just fly home. So I flew home with my broken arm in a sling and got it fixed at home, and came back for the tail end of Alaska. This was during Stronger. And so I joined Kazuo on the pass mission, this Japanese photographer, Totome. And we sessioned the pass, which I've seen a lot of footage before on it, and just had to bow in. And that was my last resort with the snowmobile going there. But it was okay.
We're talking Haines Pass?
Haines Pass, yeah. Crossing the border. It's in Canada, actually.
Yeah. Explain that a little bit more, where it's at exactly and what it is for the time of year.
Yeah, so whoever has not gotten enough shots and got kind of barged on the heli in April there would... just have to go in deeper and extend the season filming up more northern realms. Same in Europe, equivalent would be going to Riksgränsen, northern of Sweden. And Haines Pass is just like that, a May getaway. When spring has overly sprung, the bears come out. You are just there to hit some wind formations and get clips.
So this is like 7 or 8 years ago, right? The Union movie?
2016.
2016. So I guess I'm curious, were you on Haines Pass with Travis Rice and his breakout pop year, Haines Pass?
That was even Transcendence when they went. And I want to segue back too a little bit, like, because we've been so much in our career together. I don't even know if Roman had a bomb hole yet.
No.
Yeah. Don't know. I mean, what I want to say is, I think it was Roman DeMarchi and Travis that went out with Justin, and it was on the tail end of the AK season, which brought in the freestyle kids right there. And, you know, Justin would spend filming Absinthe with Axel Poport and Yannick Amfet during, the season of big mountain riding. And then I had the idea to, bring in Travis to Haines Pass and Jonas Emery. And, shit went crazy with them. I don't know, the next year you hear stories of them, of Roman being thrown in jail up there. having to pick up garbage on the side of the road as community service because he broke in the window at the bar after being hired as on a stag. It's Drifties, guys. And anyway, that was that first year. So we were flying around the helicopter from the morning. We got to go on triple shot and do all that. We had not the knowledge of where the sun goes, which lines are coming into play, and we just worked it in shifts. But the other group was not finding anything, and it became later in the day, and I just had this crazy dropping off Looker's left side of goat towers, which I always sort of wanted to tackle, but it was like this drop in where I had to jump into a toe edge turn. It was so crazy. Andy Wright has a photo of it as well. And Manuel Diaz was also in the crew. And we come back from that and we find out the other crew being quite, desperate and sort of blaming on us that, we had taken advantage. And to soothe that right off the bat, it was like seeing in this area where it's quite historic. It changed throughout the years. The glacier moved down, and the first time Travis did the backside 7 off that natural wind lip, that's actually the landing of where Thorstein's ender is. And so we were right in that place, and I'm really good and well done, spoken with the safety guys, with the guides. He would always bring me into the ice to get those backside air compilation I've been building. Want to maybe make a show at once, some exhibition, ice features and methods. Anyway, I knew I can do it, and there was this one takeoff into a landing, massive step down. I was like, Thorstein has been hitting crazy stuff there, and Andy Wright getting the photos, like backside 7 or something he did, and I'm like, that's a perfect step down. Can we get closer? And it happened in the group. It's not only because of me, but we dedicated ourselves, and it was the last thing we could do during that shoot. And it was chronologically, which I like so much about it, is it was the last thing we could do, and they hammered, punched it in. I mean, I saw in front of my eyes who is battling for ender on that one, because it was Breezy or Thorstein. And Breezy just could not get his cap 9 around, and Thorstein did the double 1080 Indy. It was crazy. We went off. I have that footage in there.
Yeah.
So
the iPhone clips.
Yeah, that was a battle of last video part in front of my eyes. It was tragedy to see Breezy go down on that. The expectation was a bit on him, thinking, maybe he loaded his pressure on that one. But yeah.
What about, with Absinthe and all the film crews, really, you spent a lot of time in Birthday Bowl. I feel like there's a lot of iconic stuff that's came out of there.
That's Birthday Bowl is sort of, probably it's a catchy name, so everybody goes to. And what's so interesting about it being a bowl, it's, again, really high glacier. It's this trough, and then the glacier breaks away. And I guess Jeremy Jones found it, gave it to Nicholas on his birthday, because Nicholas' birthday was always a bit the end of the heli season, 18th of April, maybe, around there. You would add 3 more days. So if anybody's out there wants to get busy in AK, I'm your guy. Just get me up there. I'll just bring on the budget.
Let's get the AK.
Yeah, my team riders are not getting much budget. I don't have either, but I try to do my best in that sense. Definitely, AK is another beast, and stronger, one of a kind movie. Super proud of the pirates who made it happen.
What's that like now with the, I just wanted to ask, I can see your board over there. Are those Union boots or what's going down?
Oh yeah. So these are the Ultras. And now I've been waiting 3 years without a boot sponsor just to get on that program. I heard it, so it sort of dawning, and I just wanted to be all in. I loved their product development processes and what they put in on the vertical level of production. very, very interesting in that economic environment. And I quickly got to develop the Contact Pro into what became the Ultra. And that is the mini disc, went through phases of using 2 screws, which came from the Anink days where we had the 2X. Our boards got delivered in a plastic wrapper with separated special discs for our hole pattern, the 3D hole pattern. And 4x4, it always was a bit of a throw off and a spiel in the industry, like question why. And to evolved product went like 2X. We always figured then if those 2 screws can withhold Roman's abuse, we are the perfect low-level testing ground for product development. So we carved out our niche into that, being a bit of a playing field. And nowadays, it's totally crazy. The board comes out and it's already seen. So, we were working ahead 1 year of a cycle, which has changed now. But that was the game. And with applying, that learning in experience, implement into like, let's make new stuff that's writing different, that has a surfy feel. And thought to that is, I like boards responsive. Camber, which was when I started Slash, not many boards were camber. There was all those crazy rocker, and I never would take that Danny Davis rode a V rocker on his Easy Living in the pipe. It's the length of a skateboard he must have ridden on in that sense of like a groomer. And with that a soft binding takes away a lot of stress from the knees. That's my longevity. It's like if I impact or do something unexpected, I can just fold. And so I kept everything worn in, and that's kind of like my safety shield, my board. And the boots now come into play, which totally are, I gotta say, and it's weapons. Like it's
They're
so
weapons.
responsive, and they're made like, out of one plastic part, and just keep my heels sort of safe. I don't have to think about all that like crazy stuff. It feels like protected around calves, and it takes a bit to get used to, because basically we're working here with ski boot materials, like a full shell, and only a union can do that. The plastic injection mold, hydraulic injected mold, they just cost a fortune. You're like, by one of that injection mold is like 25 grand easy. You have boots, and I don't know how the ski boots get made, but it's definitely an investment, and especially in progressing this whole boot world and going into my job as having 2 contracts with union, one as a developer, one as a writer, and I'm gonna get on to the project of making a step-on boot for them. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm definitely waiting for the first draft and how I'm gonna get into it, because the process is, people get jobs, get added, and it's so lively, and it's so much good stuff going out and into. And the 3D printer technology and pulling out prototypes and stuff like that. It's good. I'm very excited. Making snowboarding in that sense.
That boot you're riding, would you say it's medium flex, soft flex? Where does it land?
So it's got this solid shell that keeps me kind of like squared up, but the whole textile material is like sort of ripstop, like a light hiking boot style. So that wears in after like 3 days, and then they just keep the form. Just depends on how strong you put the ankle strap on. And yeah, what I like about it is the directness. The whole footprint is half a size smaller, so I can't ride a 59 anymore. I'm like on the 57 now, just because I had to bring in my heel cup one click to have like just be right on the toe and heel edge, the pressure, and it transports really well. It's super responsive.
Cool.
I had heard on the difference with the boot shell is it's basically only like less than a dozen pieces, where like most snowboard boots are like could be as many as 100. Is that right? It's more of a shell, right? Like
correct.
heat molded,
It's not like a shoemaker would
Right.
make the shoe with stitching and all these pieces. It's one mold, puts you back down to union, knowing that the bindings already take a lot of. We have this running shoe sort of soft plastic. Used to be EVA. I don't know what the new one is called. Probably Polytech molecular something. But anyway, simple union, knowing that you can go low on the profile. Like these boots this part is glued just like on a binding, and what it is under the arch it has like a solid block. So this part here is standing pretty nice on it. I just like it. I'm just so stoked. I got like a project going on, and
it's cool to
can
see something
dig
innovative
into
and new.
work.
Yeah.
Work on this
Did
and
you
work
help
on step
develop
on.
the Zoom boot with Nike?
Not the Zoom boot. That was more like Danny Cass. Big shout out to him. It was really good team right then. And it was when the Keiju, which was the boot we wrote, we got like Quick Strike boots, which was a rider's signature sort of release. And mine came with a glow-in-the-dark print, and it had, for that to apply, it could not have any stitch lines on the toe cap. It needed to be a solid full toe cap. And the difference it made between the boot of a regular Keiju to the Quick Strike was so enormous. Like a solid toe cap just transponds reaction so much better, because stitching lines, they suck in, water, moist, and by the thread, and make these like must break zones, fold zones. And that boot just stayed so much longer solid than the Keiju did. And so it ended up being inspired also by that, and it came out the Lunar Endor. So the Lunar Endor is the final product that was inspired by me, with the J bars. So longevity to the product, that, once it wears out, you have J bars to put in, and they would, just longer the life of the boot.
And the hard toe cap you're saying is more responsive.
I would only go with hard toe caps. Yeah. No wet toes.
I'm learning some stuff over here, Bjorn.
Right? What I want to know is how many people have these Nikes as like collector's items? I mean, do you have a bunch of Nikes at home, boots and some glass on the shelf?
I definitely was, in these 3 years, I was waiting for this project to take off with Union. I was still riding like deluxe boots.
Mm-hmm.
And my son would also get free boots from them, and didn't want to overstretch them. Once mine broke or wore out, I went on back to the Lunar Endor boots, and so many people hit me up. Like, do you still have a pair of those? Yeah, I have a pair of those. I have a bunch of pair of those. I have also, like, I have so much Nike stuff still, like, crazy. Even like golfing stuff I don't even use, just bought on the free dime.
And you guys, when you guys first got signed with Nike, it was like first class everywhere, right?
Nico had that clause put in from Cersei. Yeah. So she managed that, and she manages also Travis.
All right, Sims Brothers wants to know, congrats on the podium at NST. Thank you to our Patreon members. That also includes Gigi Rüf over here. Do you have any advice for the younger riders who want to make a snowboard career?
Oh, yeah. Probably have fun. It's so hard these days. I mean, I'm even like, all I can do is pass on the joy. I cannot make any promises. If anything, I would like to take parents maybe out of the equation as much as you can. Let the kids ride, and definitely bring them to the mountain, into the nature, do all it takes, and forget what I just said before. Kids nowadays
Drive them
need,
there, then abandon them for a while.
yeah, pretty much. Like, just stay there.
That's great advice. We got another question from a Patreon member, Tyler Calabrese. He says, the most iconic clip in snowboarding is the utility line pole jam with a back 180 through the wires. Can you talk about that clip?
First off, what is an utility wire?
Utility, I think he's. I was
backside
thinking
180
I think
through the
switch.
wire.
I thought the only thing I could think of is you do a switchback 180 off that giant pole.
Oh,
maybe that's what he's talking about, but I don't remember there being wires on it.
Up in those lift the Bison towers by the.
Was it
chairlift?
Neverland? Must have been
know what that
Neverland.
is.
There's 48 video parts. There's 48 video parts. I don't know. I can't even.
I probably bonked the chairlift with Volde and always wanted to do that. The resort shut down, and it was the same session the next day. I went up to hit the Gazex right by the Matterhorn on the Cervinia side, and Frode Zampek took that photo. And yeah, I brought actually a piece of wood there just to strap it on to be able to shimmy up onto that Gazex, because it always looked like all mountain shape. Yeah, so jumping through the wire was just another take of all mountain jibbing.
All mountain jibbing.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to get a visual on this shot that I can picture in Neverland. You brought a piece of wood and put it on the Gazex, like full street spot in the backcountry?
Yeah, the guy was not really having it. Well, we were loading the chairs. Like, what are you doing with this piece of wood? And yeah, it served well.
Yeah, that explains a lot. The work ethic that you're seeing this shot. You're like, how do I make this rideable? Like,
what's the solution?
Years, yeah,
make it work.
Solution.
Yeah, looking for solutions, not the problem.
I think that goes back to your mindset, what we were talking about earlier. You're able to see things other people aren't seeing, and I think that really speaks to your longevity as you're explaining, like, you know, now you got your own brand, you're building that up, and then going into more R&D on a whole nother level with other brands, which you've done your whole career. But
I might have had a bit of a issue with filing decisions. I don't know if it's because I'm Libra, but it's definitely group dynamics is a big part in the learning process and having the experience. So talking again back into, you know, group movement and group dynamics and what role it plays, trusting each other and communicate openly, and that's where I just never had the boundary to. So I would get everybody pretty revved up to get shit done on, like, hey, with David Vladica there as a filmer, Absinthe Film Euro, he would always be down for the cause and embracing the vision, be in and out of, you know, timely, tight situations where the guards would come running up at us while we were doing the bomb drop off the dam, like already on his cell phone. Roman was up there and it's like, I gotta try and drop it switch, like first time. I wanted to switch bomb drop. And then I see these nails coming out of the rocks while I was up there. I was like, okay, I gotta just land on the snow. And jump and did not make the switch drop and go up and the guides come and the guards come. And I'm like, okay, I gotta land that shot. And as soon as I landed down there, I was like changing pants to inside out so they would not see my red pants anymore. So Neverland was a really good part, and we were always on like some sort of mission and causing a ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
Neverland's a damn good part.
I showed my wife that clip this morning. He's jumping off
Might be the
this
world's
wall.
biggest bomb drop. Is it the biggest bomb drop ever?
Big enough, my wife.
If somebody like, was it Colin McKay or no, Danny Wade jumping out of a helicopter?
Yeah.
Mike Pacey jumped. If somebody like Fabio Wittmann jumped out of a helicopter, if it would have been that, it'd probably been very spectacular. But I just jumped off a dam.
She thought it was the Great Wall of China. She's like,
really?
is that the Great Wall of China? I'm like,
Dan
no,
Wade
but it's
jumped
huge.
over
That's
that
what I'm
one.
saying. It's massive.
Another NBD for world's biggest bomb drop, potentially.
Gotta bring some snow.
I don't think so. I mean, that's a bomb drop.
You got to land. It's like we could say you're the first double cork, but you didn't land. You got to land.
True.
You landed.
Yeah, I did not land the double cork, but at least somebody choose. It was another slam for me in my video part. I've always have
You're
gotten
then,
I never really had like a part without a crash.
There's a beauty in the looseness.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, this is a good question from legend Adam Moran. Dear Gigi, you've made some of the biggest sponsorship moves a rider at your level could make. From top level brand to another top level brand, from Burton to Volcom to Nike and now 686. I know there are a million reasons why everyone leaves for a new sponsor, but which move was the hardest personally? And how does this all affect your choices of who rides for Slash and how you treat riders in your program? Hope all is well, buddy. Congrats on NST.
None of them. They came also natural, full of excitement. I'm embracing not like forced willed change, but embracing change in that circumstance where time just tells me where the industry moves, and that's what I keep my ears on the ground for. Is where is something happening where people are pushing the envelope and progressing. And it's something I also learned during Nike is it's nostalgia is good, but it's also death. And you got to keep progressing. So that saying made me a bit afraid, but it is something I keep from for product development. So definitely embrace change and get into different circumstances and opportunities arising.
It's a good segue to talk about riding for 686 now too.
Yeah, my main sponsor. Thanks, Brand McCarthy, Mike West, truly independently owned company, only but good stuff, like top product. I mean, what can you ask more for? And it's amazing being up there on the podium with Blake Muller. Felt like, somewhere I'm part of a team. Something's moving, we're shaking.
You guys are making a movie this year too?
I think they are, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a delicate subject. I want to get to AK so bad, so I was bugging Blake for what's your budget looking like? And I'm pretty much hitchhiking these days. They understand very well. I have a family, company, and other obligations, and might be my only year I don't bring out the video part. Might be this year. I mean, where does the video part end nowadays? Maybe you guys can elaborate on that. What's the
where
platform?
Does it end?
If you're if you consciously don't have an energy drink sponsors platform to obtain, the videos are a bit lost out there in the action sports.
Not all of them.
Yeah. I mean, we can use Bombhole here.
Yeah, Bombhole. We'd love to.
Drop clips. Clips from.
Send us whatever. We'd be honored.
Nice.
Yeah.
The video park saga continues.
Still continues. I think the cream rises to the top, though. You put out a good part, people will watch it.
For sure. I mean, you could still put it out for free on Slush or whatever, not with a media partner necessarily. And they're going to, if it's dope footage, they'll put it out. Same
okay, we got an answer for the Sims brothers. Caught up? Got it? I have not forgotten. This could be something we're on to. Just put out some clips and make yourself seen.
Right?
48 video parts later, you might be doing good.
Yeah. Hey, when you were talking, I just want to go back 686, because one thing that really struck me when you're talking about all the companies you've been with is, and through corporate structure and these things and building them up, selling them and all that. Mike West, for those that don't know, he's been at 686. He's the founder. When I say he's been at it, he's been literally building that company for like 30 plus years. And I just think it's cream of the crop, rising up like that. It's really apparent, like they are snowboarders that care about snowboarding, that, build a team, that recognize someone like you, has a longevity and can, and basically communicate to the, the audience like a message. And I just think it's so cool to see a brand like that who, wasn't as cool in a way in the 90s and early 2000s has, you know, slowly over time just done all the right things, and now they're here and like supporting you. And then Blake, to see like the young guys, and Sarge being their, you know, team manager and stuff. A lot of respect, big ups to those guys. So
yeah, it was also, I was on the market after Nike dropped out. I mean, I had no sponsor except Dragon and my company. And so it was also the year I started to, you know, take care of it 100% myself. The one-man army with Slash, and yeah, Dragon stuck with me. But there was that time when I was, for 2 years, I upcycled old Nike clothes with like screen prints from like Lucas Scholar, who was really avid in screen printing, made, you know, these back prints. You can see some in the Stronger. I had no outerwear sponsor. I was on Airhole back then as well for a little time. But yeah, I was riding old boots.
Mm-hmm.
But upcycled clothing, I was on the market for 2 years anyway. And Pacom, Luis, he called me up and was like, yeah, do you want to ride for 686? So he picked me up, and I was so grateful then, because I was not like looking for sponsors. I was just waiting, basically. Yeah. And, you know, yeah, there was no outerwear sponsor during Stronger, and what followed for a good part was Driven. Actually, As the Crow Flies and Follow Your Nose with Elias Elhard. Big shout out to him as well. We did 2 years together filming with Pirates, and yeah, another journey around the world pretty much.
But to that point, just to lean into that a little bit more, it's like, it's all from the outside. It's like, oh, once I got on Volcom, I had it made for the rest of my life or whatever in the 90s. And then moving forward, and it's like, you're just explaining, like, I didn't have a sponsor. I was struggling. I was out there, but you're still doing what you cared about the most, which was snowboarding and pushing yourself, boarding, and like back to like those kids, like asking what can they do, you know, just go boarding and do you. And like, you were just doing you the whole time. In a brand like 686, they're entrenched enough in the sport where they're like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, let's get Gigi on there. And I just think that's just so cool, dude. Like, you have been not relentless, but in a sense, like, you're the same person you were 30 years ago. And I just love that.
Yeah.
Well said.
Gotta say, Union has been a supporter through that too. Because, yeah, filming the Union movie with no outerwear sponsor there. I mean, I'm, you know, picking at something where I'm like, okay, I did not have a clothing sponsor, but just didn't matter to me at that point, and I was supported well enough, and I had a project, and so yeah, was just writing like you're saying.
I'm gonna sidebar this thing, PMAC, if you're listening. Let's get BMO, Gigi, and Mason Jar in a goddamn helicopter, and let's send them to AK. I want to watch them.
And Dara.
And Dara, yeah. Let's send them all to AK.
Mason's up there.
How old are you?
Me?
43?
43. I was 2 years 36, so I never was 27.
So you are a 12-year-old.
That's my way of expressing my Peter Line affinity. Shout out.
Yep. I think you're a 12-year-old trapped in a 43-year-old's body.
Raised by chipmunks.
How old are you mentally?
That's a good question.
I keep hearing this. I'm like almost getting this to the point where it's becoming a burden. No, I'm just clueless. Yeah, I live in the moment so much. I'm 43 years old.
Boom.
That's it. Live in the moment. That's the ticket. Because I might just hammer on you one more time, because there's another question about staying young. I'm going to fucking hit you again because everybody wants to know. You know, let me find this question.
What are we going to do about this?
Everybody wants to know how you do it, myself included. So we're going to ask from a third angle here, probably. Steve Titus, do you have any ancient Euro secrets that we don't know about here in the States that help you keep you limber, fit, and continue to pop like a spring chicken?
Yeah, I cannot say anything about health or eating healthy. It just, it must have been in the water, or, and like, I have no idea. Might be the genes the jeans I'm wearing.
Do you think it has anything to do with like you're a dreamer that hasn't given up on your dream? Maybe?
Probably.
You know?
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely living the dream. Like, you know, when filled with passion about something, I just can't unthink snowboarding in a way. And so constantly, keeping that, you know, bag of tricks on my mind, like visualizing things, like always. And I hear it so many times, it resonates, manifesting, and that comes into, you know, the lead up into natural selection. All that is, you know, there, served on a red carpet with a silver platter. It's just, you know, follow that. There's no formula up there. When you're dropping in, you're like, just imagine your audience naked. And it's you. It's right there about to like, okay, am I really gonna mess this up? But then I don't think it's that important because it's always been there in a way where, you know, you're, I don't want to say forgiven, but, you know, you can make mistakes, and it's not that anybody will point the finger at you or some gray-haired representative of the sports club will be like, oh, we don't like this guy or something like that. So it's always been a bit embracing something more, something higher within each one than expectations, you know, or like you have been given this contract because we expect this from you. It was more or less like, well, let's see where you take it and you know, progress the sport towards. And I've always seen it as that, as
like a
job.
no limits mindset, essentially.
Yeah.
But you also set expectations of the enemy, which I love too.
Yeah.
Like
I create sort of, I'm using opportunities, let's say that. I don't create anything, I'm just using opportunities.
I have a question. How much time, like how much of your brain is occupied with what I would call mind snowboarding? Like how much daydreaming and snowboarding in your head are you doing before you do the actual trick? Like what percentage of your brain does it occupy?
A third, because the other 2/3 are taken from other board sports. Skateboarding sometimes. You like balance over on a curb and then, constantly. Yeah, I could give it 100%. And also with my family, I'm like, you know, how do I don't want to get into justifying, but how do I justify to, you know, explain and live and over again what is my purpose or what do I do for a living, and it's just simple as that. And like I barely have a clue and it just couldn't answer my dad the question at the beginning if I'm going to bring it to somewhere. So thinking maybe it's an early experience of other people who liked snowboarding, like I said early on, which was the closest I've gotten to tears here in the bomb hole during my podcast, when I realized, a friend just went from, you know, what we loved so much and cannot do it anymore. And I'm like, wow. And then the Jeffy thing happened. So I'm like, just want to write it out, you know, and manifest those dreams. And I don't want to call it a celebration. I've called it an escape before, but not really. It's somewhere else. In that lies sort of the truth of just feeling one. And I'm a bit maybe taken as a lunatic often. But I don't care because I know there's higher grounds on what I do, because all those beliefs with those shared dreams that I had with, you know, so many, they're just my grip, my hold, bite my teeth in it and wrestle for that.
God damn.
Love it.
Well, we breezed over this real quick. I just want to go back to it. You touched on it, but you know, we didn't really emphasize like how close you and Jeffy were, and losing Jeffy And I'm just curious, like when you lost such a close friend, what effect did that have on the outlook of life for you?
It just felt like really silent void, and I got really sort of lost in dark. It was like questioning a lot that day it happened, like purpose in life and such. But I just also realized that I had a lot of demons in myself, and I went riding that day and rode like a demon. It was crazy. Like I've seen me from the outside. So yeah, that was one of those experiences where, you know, it just kind of feel lost without purpose. Yeah, so to justify that, and, you know, getting to know Jane Bear, mother of Jeffy, and, you know, what all she put into the Brotherhood skate park. And yeah, Brother Skate Park, Mammoth, and all, you know, what we can build within the industry and build to the outside, and yeah, it's definitely a supportive, family in that sense. All the board sports combined, I think we have something going on that just means the world to me, and I want to be 60 years old and make my way towards surfing, even if it's just a longboard, and hanging 5 of it and live that, you know. Now my wife and me, we, you know, bring the kids to the hill, but then we set out alone pretty much and ride with each other, and it's awesome. It's like lets us, you know, sort of look at the fruits of labor, you know, and that's oftentimes where I see myself more. And looking at, it's a lively thing, you know, and sure, we've missed a lot of generations, and I want to say that out loud. It's been bugging me too. Like, we've been so self-centered throughout all these filming of video parts and trying to make it a sport. And you know, with that, within that bubble, to break out and embrace, you know, the skiing, the whole free riding, and each one living in the mountains, and it's just regretful to maybe even have left a few generations behind where we could have done so much more. If that's something I see really viable, and also within Slash to have the Skrill team, and you know, not like top notch, however, contract riders. It's just whoever gets in touch and comes close and you know, wants to be part and partake is welcome. We're gonna make it happen, even though it's like not in the work give any false promise. So that's Slash.
Incredible.
That's beautiful. Spread the community.
And kids now just gotta get that all together. Yeah.
Family biz. All right, we got a question. This is our last guest question. This is from Billy Anderson. Here we go.
Wow, Gigi, what a career it's been. When I look back, I kind of break your career into 5 eras. There's the 7 era, on Inc., Volcom, Nike, and now Slash. All very impressive. Out of those 5, my question is, what was your favorite and why? Hope you're enjoying your time in the booth with Chris. Can't wait to listen. Thanks.
I think it's the whole Slash thing, because Billy told me when I started Slash, like, you could do that in 6 years. And I remember when those 6 years passed, I was like, I wouldn't want to be here without the experience I've gathered in the last 6 years and what it has brought to me, especially back to now having second place in Supernatural, first place in Ultranatural, and now the third place. And that has happened over the course of that time, where, it just means like I'm sort of there, still relevant. And Slash has allowed me to create that vehicle. And it's not the world, can't pay much off, but I'm just trying not to take the food off the table from family, and make smart decisions, it can easily go south with, like, you know, just a bad order, or you're depending so much on manufacturing. And right now, that is being the struggle. Like I've only produced in Europe, and now since everybody's moving back from China on a whim, is pushing me out, and it's that MOQ, the minimum quantities I produce are not spectacular. I just break even. That's my goal, and hope. I mean, the family is okay with that. I have those savings. I don't. Want to say that it's not self-generating enough really, but I get to complete my vision, and nobody is gonna copy the homework of the guy that has dog ears on his paper. You know what I mean? I just do useless things, and they turn out to be like unique and epic. But I'm invested. I'm in the 3D mold. Have you seen these? I mean, it's a straight shape, but I put 3D on like dog ears, and it's so fun. Yeah, it's such a flying saucer.
Nice nose and tail grab. Nice little nug pocket there.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the board does not fall over. It's got the kickstand. No
Doing your own
nervousness.
thing. Nobody's thinking like Gigi thinks.
Yeah, there's a purpose.
Yeah.
A solution, I should say.
And I think you'll get there as far as you're breaking even or feel like you're taking food off the plate. It's like, dude, you just keep doing you. People are going to sign up for it. You know what I mean? Like you keep bringing those innovative things, and
we have now like since everybody I try to move in on an order, being in the shop, everybody's complaining about color, and spectrum is endless of excuses to let new companies move in. And there's companies I've been writing before to Burton, where or other goggles that are, people come in and look for that name, but when is that paradigm gonna change? It just needs to happen, because there's fresher ideas out there. I get had a lot of ideas. It's a prototyping at this, but it does not mean I'm not out there on the market for collaborating. It's we all sort of listen to each other, and now cooked it down to the facts and broth of my board, making a blank board. I came up with the idea. It's a safe bet, right? You have almost a carryover. Everybody during the last years screamed carryover, but it comes with other logistics. Like you need to change the barcodes because systems work with computers. You need to change the barcodes. If a barcode is 1 year old, it already gets the discount on like bigger shop accounts. And learning from doing, I made top art stickers, board wraps, which is totally its own thing. And I can basically tell each and every artist off the sofa to send a graphic and print it on top sheet, upcycle the old board to a new graphic, like make it yours, be creative, and use a pencil or something, your computer, and just come up with some funny tagline. Yeah.
That's like our moto. That's like we ride
it
dirt
comes
bikes.
from MX Decor.
We ride dirt bikes, and we put a new graphics kit on every year. It's like the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, we've got to make a bomb hole one.
Yeah, let's run it up.
Top art sticker. Cool. Yeah, and I have right now I've been so on Union when they saw I put on a silver sticker, which is not possible in production to have a reflective top sheet, is put on a silver sticker. And Riley would send me the chrome bindings. They just came out, and the whole thing is now chromed and Silver Surfer. People would just look at me. It's a Silver Surfer. So funny. And I always can check the weather looking down. It's a real nice app.
You don't need to look up.
No, I'm definitely not the weather check guy. I'm the type of guy who looks out the window.
Okay, we're gonna get into hot takes here, Gigi. You ready?
Let me have a sip of water.
Okay. First question is, who is your GOAT? We say MJ sometimes, Michael Jordan. Who's yours, both male and female?
Okay, I'm just trying not to apply too many thoughts. I got to go with John Jackson.
Woo.
Yeah. Much love. Greatest of all time woman. Thought a little bit about this because I had admiration for all the female writers actually. But yeah, what I've seen of Zoe Zdarsky is just mind-blowing, crazy.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Snowboarding, art form, sport, or lifestyle?
Art form, lifestyle. Lifestyle, because it combines all the other sports as well, not just painting and drawing. The lifestyle, skateboarding is in it. Music, big part.
Who's one of the most...
Did you extend that question actually to lifestyle? It used to be just...
Yeah, I had a
polar
third option. I hate that question. But sometimes it makes a good wormhole.
Man, lifestyle is it.
It's kind of a lifestyle. Yeah.
Builds the bridge.
But it's whatever you want it to
Take
be.
care of your lifestyle. Don't do everything that's offered to you. Stay with the natural stuff.
Who's one of the most underrated snowboarders in your opinion?
How are your kids doing? Are they underrated?
One of them's completely under the radar, underrated. Bear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bear it is.
There you go.
You know what you could say before natural selection was BMO.
BMO was, but
he's kind of
if
now.
You knew though,
but
if you knew BMO, you knew he wasn't underrated.
Yeah.
He's got Eye of the Tiger competitor.
Yeah. He's got definitely fangs.
Yeah.
And especially with his brother Griffin, mountain. They're using the whole mountain. They're out there, and feeding off each other, I believe. And BMO, for a tall rider, gotta say, I'm using the same boards I'm, selling again, and BMO just needs a bit of a stiffer tail, and he would definitely be crushing. Maybe it helped him in a way because it's in NST, looching a little bit, but I think he's going big off cliffs. Man.
He needs Bodie's board. It's like a 64 or whatever it is.
You see, he needs a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Kid's a
work
weapon.
more in like white room conditions, not like in blower pow, not like wind hammered, where it's like easier to navigate terrain and such. And the Mount Baker wet pow sort of like. He's gonna win it next year then.
All right, next question. This is a big one. Steel or powder?
Well, I did think about that. What I should tell you, it's wood.
Hauling wood up to
lumber.
Oh yeah,
okay,
lumber. Yeah, a fiend powder rider.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Favorite style ever?
Yeah, I think I popped the bubs on that one already. Jamie Lynn.
Woo.
Correct answer.
All right, who's got your favorite method?
Double up. Okay, favorite method. What are the pipe riders doing? Danny Davis switch method.
Ooh.
Does that count in switch?
So whatever you want.
Well, okay. Ross Powers did pretty. Ross Powers did pretty good. Oh. Okay, there's this anonymous photo of Ingemar Bachmann in Ischgl, I think World Cup, first hit. Homie's holding a soft drink, sipping from it, doing a method. Please put that on a t-shirt, okay? That's my favorite method, Ingemar.
Okay, fantastic.
It's a soft drink.
What's your favorite snowboard video ever made?
Well, Resistance Behind You. Bjorn.
So what? Oh,
that's definitely a mind melter. And video. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite board graphic ever made?
Okay. I have a few and I do write them as well. And I don't know if you've seen in the photo I shared. My favorite board graphic ever comes from Dale Röberg. It's got no corporate signature on the base. It's only a boy diving with the turtle, and you see this coin floating to the dark end of the blue ground, and it always encapsulates my thought of like, you're not here to chase money. You swim with the turtles, and you're like there the moment. So that's my favorite expression on the graphic. Yeah.
Incredible. What brand was it?
Ride.
It's the Ride graphic. Cool.
It had the crazy hole pattern for their baseless bindings, and baseless bindings used to be a thing. And by the way, definitely open up that pathway and product of like making the EST bindings, which Anink had the first pair of because we pushed for it. And so baseless bindings were a thing, and sure enough, I could ride those boards with that funky hole pattern, putting on the old EST bindings. It was pretty fun getting to ride those old boards.
You said you had a couple answers for this.
Well, there's another one. Like any board that does not show the company name on it is pretty ballsy. So the whole unincorporated stuck with me on that one. So it's the customs, like the Dave Downing custom with, hint of graphical butterfly there. But it was that series of customs that also do really good. All the Peter Line boards. But yeah, it comes down to Dale Rayberg being the answer.
Cool.
Right.
Pants over or under the high back?
Oh, well, that puts me into this one story with Nico Dros in Avorias. And he tells me, you're in Avorias, you better be looking good. I had to fix my stuff. And he always goes over, but I couldn't do it. I'm under the high back.
You've been under for like the whole run, pretty much, right?
Yeah, and
you didn't jump on the train.
when it's the same thing. Maybe Bjorn can confirm. When you get to AK, you bring that longer board, but you only ride it the first day.
Back.
And then you kind of switch back. I mean, that's how it always was. I had like these other intentions, and when I would put it over, I would always go back to under, and those are embarrassing moments usually when you have them. I had them over.
That was popular.
You're nonconformist.
That was popular back in the day.
Well, Eric Christensen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he would show those off.
Yeah.
Did Cooley ever go?
I don't think you could.
I
They're too
don't
tight.
think.
They're too tight.
Yeah, they're too tight. No dice.
All right, you go heliboarding 3 people, dead or alive, hypothetical, whatever, however you want to take it. Some people bring Charlie Sheen, for example. Mike Tyson's been brought in that. You can bring whoever you want. Who you bring in the heli?
Probably somebody who has too much money and want to give it to Slash. No.
Heli Budge. He's like, I'll bring you in and you keep the Budge going.
Keep me fly.
Tyson might have it.
Wow. I mean, family comes to mind. How about, even my dad, probably my mom, but probably Craig Kelly, or just, can I just say do the whole damn thing over again? I mean, I've been, who could I be in the alley? Maybe it is BMO. BMO, are you there?
He's really trying to get the 686 team in the heli next month.
Yeah. Well, okay, who could be in the, I have no clue. Silk, you want to go?
Silk's invited.
I'm not going to turn you down.
Yeah. Silk's a weapon out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad, BMO, Craig, those are great answers.
That's a good
it's a good crew right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, dream sponsor, any sponsor in the world, doesn't have to be snowboard related.
Dream sponsor, okay. Free subscription to Wildcards. No.
Wild cards?
Wildcards.
What's
to NST all the time.
Oh!
Free ticket.
That's a sponsor. Well, you're invited back next year, so you made finals.
Well, get a season's pass for free, that's nice. Yeah.
I mean, the world is your oyster. These are pretty low-hanging fruit sponsors. You can kind of...
Man, I don't know. I'm good. I'm pretty sad. Like, No, I don't want to force anything. Yeah.
Okay.
And see what flies.
Gotta let it flow to him.
Yeah, let it flow to you. That's good.
Bomb hole here. I see you have a pretty dope graphic. Like.
Oh yeah, that's Hannah Eddie.
Yeah.
She drew that when she came on the show. She painted a bomb flying through the air.
Wow, awesome.
She's a legend. Okay. Worst trend. What do you got?
Probably would be inline skating.
Is that even a
no
rollerblades? That's I feel like they don't see. I like it though.
Okay. Worst trend. No, I don't want to call anything out because everything goes. Some people might take it to new heights and totally be astounding. That's a personal thing. Leaving my emails undone probably is a bad trend.
Oh, I'm right there with you, brother. Mm-hmm. It's actually a life-enhancing trend is to not reply to emails.
And all social media, keep that aside. I mean, that's the big looming threat. Is to time is all that. Yeah.
The looming threat to time is distraction. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well said. All right, last question. First try step down trick. It's a massive step down, hypothetically. You gotta land. Like, what's your go-to? It's gonna be there trick.
I'm really avid Fiverr from Fiverr. That's probably if the running needs some extra pop. But if I could just skirt out on maybe I bring back the switch backside 3. I think I still can grab that nose and keep going. Sick. I mean, better than probably a switch backside 180. I've been messing up on those lately.
Switchback 3 is a gangster ass
Yeah,
answer.
add a degree of difficulty. It's like, I don't know, 180 is a little like, yeah, I'm going to mess it up. We'll just go 3 on it.
And then I would always want to get a switch backside 7, which could be in the cards for maybe second try, knowing a bit the rotation where it puts me. And yeah, so it's always a build up. I have like, a goal to get to, and there's a way to like make baby steps. Yeah, dissect it into manner of approach.
Incredible. Okay, let's keep things moving here. We talked about setups, but maybe you could say your specific board model and specific binding.
Yeah, here we have the ATV 57, also available in 55, 59 wide, and 63 wide. Have some really good riders on this board in the World Cup, like Sindre, Twyton, and it's a solid all-mountain stake. It's a directional flex, twin shape.
All right, Gigi, it's been a hell of a show. I want to circle back around here and go over a couple life lessons that I learned so far. Maybe, Bjorn, you have a few, but I believe the first one we learned, no pop, no style.
No pop, no style.
That is fantastic.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yes, the butterfly.
That should be a sticker,
butterfly
sticker
sequency
there.
Yeah. We want to get on that butterfly.
The honey butter.
Honeybee.
But yeah, butter and honey goes together.
Butter and honey go
on
together.
The bread.
What else did we learn?
First chicane, Baker Road Gap.
Yep, first chicane, Baker Road Gap. Also, nobody listens to the guy with the dog ears on their homework.
Nobody copied the homework from the guy with like having messy pages.
But the dog ears.
What is it? Follow your nose.
Follow your nose.
Yeah.
Good Papa advice.
Yeah. One other advice, it was like, nobody can take your property. If you buy some real estate, I guess.
Before we wrap it up, do we want to throw out any thank yous?
Yeah, I want to thank, obviously, my family being there. Like, I feel so much love coming back to what I do. Also from my sponsors, keeping me relevant and in the game, giving me a place where I can work and hopefully progress the product, and also being able to deliver a little bit of my vision. And I could very well give a damn about what I put out there, because it's just a good time, and very thankful for being in a spot, being so loose, I guess, because I've got no worries money wise or things like this, because I'm surrounded by so many incredible humans all the time. And something that a good friend of mine just recently said from his dad is just leave the people feeling better or happier than when you encounter them. And I think that's a way how we went about in the village I grew up. You know, we greet each other if it's just a sign of acknowledgement. So that goes out to each and everybody listening to this. And thanks, Chris, for bringing on the show, having me here. Hope something stuck on the wall. And it's incredible. Thank you, Bjorn. You know, we've been adventuring, so you know what it means, being out there, getting lost. Thanks for the show.
Wow. It's been a hell of a show. That goddamn inspired right now, Gigi.
Yeah, get lost. That was my Transworld tagline, the art of getting lost. Joel Massey, another shout out. He put his craft to words. And when Jeffy had I'm Snowboarding, I was the guy with the art of getting lost.
I just want to say thank you to you, Gigi, for just being your authentic self, you know, through all these times in snowboarding, and such a stand-up pillar in our community. And also thanks to the bomb hole, you guys like echoing the voices and the vibrations of the beekeeper and all the guys you've had on here. It's just so special. So big ups to bomb hole as well.
Thanks,
and
incredible. Well, Bjorn, do you want to do the service of taking us out of the show?
Never done that. Don't know what I'm supposed to say. But
thank the sponsors, thank the Patreon, do a sign off.
Full spectrum snowboarding.
Yeah. That's right. Well, thanks to the Patreons that support the bomb hole
community.
Thank you through Run Through the Wall. You should definitely try those. I'm a big user myself over here. And just got to say, for the community, all you listeners out there, we couldn't do it without you. Thanks for having us on today. You guys rock.
Much love.
Yeah, what a show. Yeah. God damn.
Did we do it?
We did it.
We fucking
did it. Yay.
Gigi, that was fucking unreal.
Was it good? Did it make sense?